D-Day. Yes, sir. Draft Day. NFL Draft Day. The 91st NFL Draft. 27,000 men have ever been drafted into the best sport in America. The National Football League's tremendous history. And Big Sills is one of them. How you doing? 91 years of drafting. And look what the NFL has done with this draft, though. All kidding aside. Dude, all kidding aside, you're looking at really one of the great events that the NFL puts on each and every single year. I mean, 600,000 people are going to show up. You're going to get like 15 million people watching this thing tonight. It's not really a great draft. And, I mean, what does Howie do at number 23? I don't really think there's too many sensational players in this draft. You know, what you're going to hear Eagle fan do is go like this. Like one of these dumbasses like M. Reyes is going to go, oh my God, what a grand slam draft in a mediocre talented draft. And you're going to think you automatically got better because you took some dude who was basically, hey, how about this? The guys that are in the draft today, there's just as good of players in the college ranks right now. I mean, the better players after the first round are still in college. Why? Because of nil. The depth of the draft won't be caught up for another couple years. Kids are staying in school. So when you see a guy like Akeem Essador at 25, get used to it. That's what's going to happen. Get used to seeing guys 23, 24, 25 going into the NFL draft. Kids are making a shitload of money. They're making a boatload of money in the draft or at the college ranks. Sills, can you pull up Tanklon and see if it's compatible to yours and Zander's mock draft? I will, I promise. Remind me, Kyle. Let me go back here. I think somebody dropped a super as we were going on. So let me go back here. Don't want to miss up here. How you doing, Sills? How about my Flyers? Watch that game last night against the Pens, man. Were they kicking ass? Dude, so many young players on that Flyers team. Beating those disgusting Penguins. Since you're an Islander fan, do you remember the worst call? The offsides that was never called. Yes. Hey, Daff. Your Flyers look awful good, man. And they're young as shit, man. Way to go, man. I think, what are you up? 3-0 now? Spectacular. All right. So here. So remember this tonight when you're picking and you're talking about a respected guy that you're going to take in the draft. Remember this, okay? I mean, you don't know what he's going to be for at least 3 years. You have no idea what the player's going to look like. The level, and here, before we get into the topics, the level of transition going from high school to college, that's a pretty big transition. Depending on where you played your high school football. You played in a good conference in high school, it's not that bad of a transition. I played in a great high school conference, and it wasn't that big of a transition for me because I played against numerous guys that went on and played in the, college football and in the NFL. I had 3 NFL guys on my high school football team, and we only had like my graduating class was 160. I went to a private school in Connecticut at Stanford. We had 3 NFL guys that came off my team. But again, we recruited and we went out and got guys, but I played in a great high school conference that prepped me for the college ranks. Well, when you go from college to the pros, the speed of the game is incredible. I mean, it goes like this. Bang, 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 bang. And it's everybody strong. Like I said, in college, and I say this with great respect, I was never really ever blocked. I was stronger. I was the strongest kid in the country. I ran 4.8s. I benched 550. Nobody was blocking me. Nobody was blocking Jerome. Nobody was blocking me. NFL, that's a little different. Everybody benches 500. Everybody runs 4.8s. Everybody's great. And when you get into the NFL, every single dude is spectacular. Every guy. So no matter how strong you are, it comes down to technique and talent when you get to the NFL. That's where the transition is incredible. Is because in college, you can kill everybody. All those kids aren't going anywhere. Less than 1% of those guys make it and get an opportunity to get drafted. Okay? They're not going to the NFL. So you get to kill those guys. Well, when you go into the NFL, everybody's great. Okay? And that's when you get a reality check. You're playing great people when you get to the NFL. Okay. So let's get into this here. Now, what and foremost, let's do this. If you're Howie Roseman, and let's start with the basics tonight. What would you do at 23? By the way, I don't give a freaking shit about Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel having sex. Who gives a shit? I could care less. That has nothing to do with football. I don't give a shit what they're doing. If they want to be scumbags, let them be scumbags. They want to ruin their families and they want to do all that, have at it. What's that got to do with me? And most importantly, what's that got to do with you? Who gives a shit? By the way, they're targeting Mike Vrabel. Diana Rossini's career is ruined. She's out of work. They're after Vrabel. But who cares? What does that got to do with tonight? Dick. Okay? Nothing. You know what? Philly fans are pissed off. She was dead right about AJ leaving. That's what she was right about. Leaving. And get this, all of you are wrong that said that A.J. Brown was not going to be traded. Wrong. Wrong. Again. Howie Roseman sending Big Dom to track them for 6 years to get a first-round pick. How you doing? There you go, Nick. Hey, A.J.'s gone. We'll know more about the future of Jalen Hurts over the next 3 days as well. All right. So, what does Howie do at 23? What do you think Howie does at 23 tonight? What do you think he does at 23? What would you do? At 23, personally, there's 10 guys in this draft that are really good players. The rest of them are okay. Like from around pick 12 to 60, they're the same people. You can get the same player at 23 that you could at 54. Same guy. Same guy. And I heard Zander and John saying, okay, the wide receivers and the offensive linemen, okay, are probably the best positions with some edges. There's 12 players in this draft that are worth the shit. Okay? You're not getting a spectacular player at 23. Not in this draft. Yep. He's gone now. Give us the top 5. Yep. He's gone now. Give us that top 5 pick for 27. You're assuming that you're assuming the Patriots are going to drop back a little. I happen to agree with you. I happen to. Here's what I would do. I would drop down. I would trade with the Bucks. And here either trade with the Bucks up to 15 to see what's around there, or I would trade out of 23 and out of the first round and acquire multiple picks in rounds 2 and 3 and have a first rounder next year. I don't see the logic in trading up for an offensive lineman unless it's one of the top 3 guys. And for me, I'm not trading for a guard if I have to trade up. If Vega's down there at 23, I don't mind taking that pick at 23. But if I trade up to 15 to grab him, that's overreaching. And by the way, okay, I don't remember Penn State being some high-powered offense and some high-powered run game last year. Do you? Let's take a look at this. What was Penn State? 2025. Penn State run game ranked. Where were they ranked? Let's see. Their run game. They averaged about 100. They were not in the top 25. They were 7-6 after the firing of the coach. Not too bad. And so you got to take that into consideration where, again, I mean, you lose your coach. So you got to think you're losing some continuity. But, I mean, they were 7-6. It's actually not that bad a record after losing your coach. Failing to consistently support. Yeah, they didn't really have a high-powered run game last year. I mean, I don't see where, you know, in 2025, Penn State was some sort of like run game. Here's the run game log and what they did. Rushing. Nevada, 135. Florida International, 209, 236. 139 against Oregon. That's not very good. 157 UCLA. It's okay. 137, 173 against Iowa's good. 55 yards rushing against Ohio State. Rutgers was a train wreck, 300. I mean, you got Rutgers, Nebraska, Michigan State. Those are all dog shit teams. The 2 teams that you look at were Indiana and Ohio State. Indiana, they ran the ball for 117 yards, and for Ohio State, they had 55 yards rushing. And against Oregon, they had 139. I mean, Indiana, they averaged, what was it? 3.5 a carry. Against Ohio State, they averaged 1.8. The rest of those people on that schedule, Northwestern, UCLA, Nevada, Florida International, who gives a shit about that? So, again, I mean, I don't remember them being a really high-powered offensive attack. Okay, so I'm not trading up for the kid. If the kid's down at 23, sure, maybe that's a good value down there. Okay? It affects Vrabel. He's already avoiding pressure. Who gives a shit? The fucking organization had a murderer in the locker room. The owner got caught with his pants down. gives a shit? You think they're firing Mike Vrabel? You're high. He's trading the pick for a veteran. Okay, we're going to talk about that. Hey, Sills, you ready for Hurts to make our new wide receiver a legend? Who? Nico Collins? When he's traded to Houston? Here. It's a good question, actually. Smart-ass question, but how can you judge something before seeing how it translates? You can't. That's my point. In the NFL, I'm not a fan of prejudging something like that, especially when it comes to players that what team they might end up on. Correct. To sit there and say on a Friday that you did well in the first round is ridiculous. Or bad. Or on Monday, Prince. Correct. I've been saying this the whole time. I wouldn't get ahead of myself, kid. So when Friday comes, the only thing you can really talk about is if you address the need. I mean, well, you're right. So how are you getting better? You won't know for 3 years. That's right. Correct. Yes. Whoever you pick tonight, it could be the wildest pick on the planet. Either way, it's not a bad pick. It's not a great pick. You don't know. Have no idea. Right. Only thing you're doing is going based on their college game, who they played. Now, I think, get this, to Prince's comment, I think what you can do is cut down the chances of failure at the pick. Here, I want to do this one more time to you. Okay? I want to show you something. Let's see here. 4, 5, okay. So wait, let's go here. 25, 24. Yes. 2024. 2024 NFL draft. Okay. I pointed this out to Daniel Jeremiah last night. He was floored. He hadn't noticed this. Let me see here. Ba-da-da-da. Okay. 2024. Let's see here. 2025. Let's go here again. Okay. I want to show you how you help yourself on not having misses. Okay. We double check. Okay. 1. OG. 2026. Okay, so let me go here. Let me pick my mock-up. 26. I'm going to show you how you cut down on failures. Okay, sure, I'll take mine. Or no, I'll do Kuiper's. Let's see. Kuiper's. Let's see. Kuiper's. 14. No. Kuiper's. No. Okay, 1. Okay, so 1. Okay. Here's how you cut down on failure. What people are projecting, there'll be one non-Power 5 kid drafted. 25, there was a guard from North Dakota State that came out. That was a non-Power 5. In 2024, Q was the only non-Power 5. In 96 picks, 93 of those picks have all come from Power 5 schools because of transfer. The chances of you finding a guy in a non-Power 5 school, like Kuiper has maybe one guy going in this upcoming draft, finding a guy like at let's see, FAU, FIU, USF, San Diego State is zero. Zero. So what you do is you hang in the big conferences. Why? They spend the most money in talent evaluation. They spend the most money in player development. They have the best coaches, and they play against the best competition. That's how you alleviate failure. Could there be a guy in rounds 2, 3, 4? That's where you gamble. With guys that are non-Power 5. You gamble in 2, 3, and 4. You don't gamble in round 1. The NFL's telling you that. There's been 3 guys drafted in 96 picks. 3 players taken out of 96 picks from non-Power 5. You don't draft out of a non-Power 5 in the opening rounds. 2, 3, and 4, that's where you make your gambles. See, the issue is you're selective in your headline stories. If Hurts or anyone on the Eagles had done this thing similar to Vrabel, you'd be balls deep. Well, here, Hurts the player or Mike. Mike's not getting fired. He didn't do anything wrong. If Mike Vrabel was passing her seat, this is a dumb story. Hey, listen, football-wise, Vrabel didn't do anything wrong. Morally, that's a whole different conversation. There's 2 conversations you're having. What did he do illegally, or what did he do football-wise? Okay? Get this. You just don't like Diana Rossini got your boy going to New England. I don't know what you're demanding Mike Vrabel get fired because he had sex with Diana Rossini? Are you stupid? You just gave a guy in Cleveland $230 million guaranteed with 38 sexual misconduct cases. They gave him a raise. And you want to fire a guy who's been banging a chick? How stupid are you? Deshaun Watson had and was suspended for misconduct of sexual harassment and sexual misconduct. And they gave him a raise. And they guaranteed it. And you think the NFL is going to come down on Vrabel? How funny. Guess what? AJ to the Patriots, baby. Slam dunk. Bam. Way to go, Diane. Way to go, baby. Boom. Big Sill slam dunk. All right. Stupid story for stupid people. I have a question. There's been rumors of the receiver from Jacksonville could be used in a trade into the first. Think the Patriots would jump on that instead of AJ? No. Vrabel said it's difficult to do his job at 100% if he has distractions elsewhere. You're ignoring the human element. She has a kid named Mike. Great. What are we talking about here? What in God's name does that have to do with the Patriots winning football games this year? Hey, the chances of Mike Vrabel being fired are 0. Same old shit with the Patriots. Cheating, tampering, mofos. Yes. So wait a minute. Marcus, you had a murderer in the building and Aaron Hernandez. The owner got caught in a massage parlor with his pants down. You had numerous cases of Spygate, Deflategate. You think the Patriots give a shit about this? Do you see that bullshit too? Mike Vrabel's not going to be at the draft on the third day because he's going to counseling. It's kind of wormy and weird. Seals, Vrabel talked to his players 2 nights ago. He said it was the one-time mistake to them. And these new photos coming out shows he's been with her for 6 years. How will they feel? They'll feel he's got problems at home with his wife. And you're always, dude, you don't get in people's businesses and personal life and locker rooms. You don't give it that's not. If it's team related, one thing. And by the way, I don't know why you're here. I know why you're here. You know why Eagle fans are here? Because Diana Rossini reported that A.J. Brown's gone. And you can't take it, so you're deflecting. And get this. He's gone. That deal is already done. That deal is done. It's a conditional 2 and a 3. He'll be gone June 2nd. He's gone. Bye-bye. He's gone. All right. Get back to some football bullshit. Not this TMZ bullshit. So, what players will be in play at 23? If Howie stays at 23, what players will be down there at 23? Okay. Here's what your choices are if you stay at 23. Blake Miller, Clemson. Denzel Boston, wide receiver, Washington. Keldrick Falk, Auburn, edge. Freeling, Georgia, OT. And Akeem Messidor. These guys are nobody to write home about. Thank God our coach is a winner and not a scumbag. That's why your coach is on the hot seat. '23 is not a hot spot. 15 is. It's in the middle of the draft. Okay? Not Sadiq. Not the guard from Penn State. Not a wide receiver. I'm thrilled with a safety. Never happened. Trade up or trade out to quarterback needed team trying to get Ty Simpson. That could be the outlier. Now, KC, if a team wants to trade up to 15, you got to hope Ty Simpson goes before the Eagles picks at 20, whatever, 19. That would help the chaos. Okay? That would help them. Anything the Eagles do, you hate anyways. We're talking about the Eagles are going to do. Appreciate the super? Stop freaking crying. You shouldn't be a coach if you're missing any draft day. Really? Okay. Man, you guys are in the... Hey, don't get pissed off because you got the report right. AJ's gone. You see this here? Here, let me get this. Sills is a moralless clown. No, I'm telling you how the NFL acts. The NFL is a moralist clown. Morals? NFL? You must be kidding me. Okay? You must be kidding me. Morals? The NFL? What are you talking about? You got the wrong league, dude. Kenyon Sadiq. Okay? Vega, AJ, Washington, Jonathan Greenard. Jonathan Greenard makes no sense after you just had. So wait a minute. Let me ask you this on this Jonathan Greenard. That would admit how he was wrong and got caught with his pants down in the Jalen Phillips. Let's take a look at Jonathan Greenard for a second here. So let me get this right. You guys all agree you didn't want to pay Jalen Phillips $20 million or $30 million. But you're going to pay Jonathan Greenard. He's not a better player. At best, they're the same. They're the same. So you're going to end up doing it anyway? Jonathan Greenard is not a $30 million a year guy. He's not a $30 million a year dude either. So you're going to pay the lesser guy. That's admitting you failed on getting and keeping Jalen Phillips. What a stupid play. So wait a second. You let that dude go, and you go like this. All of you went, I'm not paying Jalen Phillips 30. But now you're going to give up a second-round pick and a $30 million to Jonathan Greenard, who's 31. Is that right? He's 31. What a stupid play. That's stupid. How dumb can you get? Greenard is huffed. He's not that. Greenard's a good football player. He's 31 now. And you're going to do the same shit. Here. Let's take a look at his numbers versus Phillips. Okay. So Greenard. Guy last year missed 5 ball games, had 3 sacks. Years before that, 2 years in 24 and 23, he had 12 and 12 and a half. Before that, 1.5 because he missed time. Here's what this guy has done in his career. He has missed, first year, he missed 4 games. Second year, he missed 5 games. Third year, he missed 9 games. It's 18 games so far in 3 years. In 23, he missed 2. That's 20. Played a full season in 24, and in this last year, he missed 5 games. That's 25 football games he's missed in 6 years. 25 ball games. Let's take a look at this. Jonathan Greenard. Something else here. We go down here. He'll be 29 years old in May. So he's 20. He'll be 29 in May, before the start of the season. Let's see something out here on Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips will be 27 in May. Be 27. Let's see how many games he's missed. And let's look at his sack. By far a better sacker. In his 5 years, he's got 28 sacks. Jonathan Greenard, in his 6 years, because of those 2 great years, he's got 38 sacks. Let's look at the tackles. 217. And for Phillips, who's a younger ball player, let's see here. Jonathan Greenard. Let's see here. And by the way, you're making a lateral move again? What a dumb move. So you're going to pay the guy 30 anyway. And you think this is an upgrade for a guy who's missed 25 ball games in 6 years. Okay, sure. This guy's injury prone. They're the same guy. They're the same guy. And you're going to end up paying a dude 30 anyway. Like I said, I'd rather get a guy in the draft and go cheaper. I'd rather draft a dude than go and spend that money. Especially if you're telling me I got to find ways to pay Cooper and Q and maybe potentially some other dudes. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting tied up in that contract. No freaking way, man. Not happening. I'd rather go into the draft than get a guy. And by the way, like I said, so here's what Howie will do. Well, I don't want to sign Jalen Phillips to 30, but I'm going to make a trade for Jonathan Greenard and pay 30 anyway for a guy who's the same player. Yeah, okay, sure. Howie, go get us Garrett and Crosby. Make it happen. Hey, according to Jay Glazer, there's supposed to be some big news tonight. Now, I pray to God it's not Aaron Rodgers saying he's coming back because it's in Pittsburgh. Okay? There's a corner tonight with the name Devontae Smith. Yeah, something doesn't sound right with that. Your whole argument is based on us paying him 30. That isn't happening. Just because he wants 30 doesn't mean he's getting 30. Well, then you're not going to sign the guy for anything. Then you're not going to sign a contract with him. If you don't think you're going to do a contract with him, you're not going to do it. I'd keep an eye on the Bucks at 15. I heard multiple mock drafts with them taking Kendrick Folk. Also, I think trading with the Panthers at 19 for Sadiq. Kyle, I hear it's a key Messidor for the Bucks. I think it's a key Messidor. Okay. They wouldn't give Phillips $30 million. What makes you think they're going to give him $30 million? Because that's what the average number is now. That's the market price for an edge. Are you not watching? The guy in Houston, who's one of the elite guys, just got 50. $30 million in today's NFL? That's the number. What are you looking at? I mean, Almost every single one of these edge rushers now that just signed are signing for, Trey Henderson just signed for $29 million. What makes you think you're going to sign a guy for anything less than 30? What world are you living in? You're not signing that guy for anything less than 30. So the question would become, why'd you get rid of Phillips? That's what makes me think they're going to go into the draft and get an edge, because they're not going to get Greenard. For what? To put another $30 million. Okay, so let me get this right. You're going to sign, get this, a twist. These are what people are saying in here. You ready? So you're going to sign Jonathan Greenard for $30 million. You just gave Jordan Davis $26 million. You're going to pay Carter $35 million, $34 million. Let's just go 34. Then after this year, and you got 17.5 for Zach Bond, then you're going to pay next year 30 for Q and 28 for Cooper. Who are you paying on offense? That's $148 million. 1, 2, 3, 4 for 6 players. You got 5 more to go. And by the way, all these void years are catching up with Howie Roseman. That's why they've gone Timu in the offseason the last 2 years. You notice it? Not signing anybody of significance. The last 2 years, they've given no money to anybody except for Zach Bond on defense and a homegrown guy in Jordan Davis. They haven't signed anybody on defense out of the box. By the way, they initially signed Zach Bond for $1.7 million. They haven't signed anybody with any number except for Bryce Huff. That's it. And they bombed. Well, here, you think they're going to reverse? Well, wait, Denny. You've got contracts on offense that you're going to have to let mature, right? You just can't start cutting loose dudes, or it's going to destroy your salary cap. Who are you getting rid of on offense? Saquon? Well, that's a cap hit. Who are you getting rid of? Hey, by the way, even when AJ leaves, you're still going to take money on. Because of the deferred money. You're still taking dough on. Yeah, well, get this. You're still going to have money on your cap next year, even if he's gone. So you're going to have to wait until some of those offensive contracts. By the way, you know how you can help yourselves? Why don't you just give the quarterback a new contract extension? Lower his number like everyone else has, like Dak just did. Dak just restructured his contract so the Cowboys could have lateral movement and able to make moves. How come they haven't done that with Hurts yet? I'll make this point to you. If Jalen Hurts doesn't have his contract restructured this offseason, they're moving on from him. All right. Hit the like button. Oh, Howard Balzer is going to be with us at 3:30. The legendary Howard Balzer, who was at the first televised draft in NFL history, will be with us. And he was there from the very beginning. When ESPN first aired the NFL draft, it's crazy that we have a guy like that was here from the very beginning. And to see what happens tonight, where 15 million people are going to watch this thing. All right. Hit the like button. Appreciate it. Big Z will be with us at 4:30. All right. Let's go to the second one here. So who do you guys want in this draft? Because I'm going to follow it up with a question here. By the way, that Jonathan Greenard deal is the dumbest thing going. What do you want tonight? Defense or offense? Defense or offense tonight with the first pick? Who do you want? Who do you want tonight? Okay. Here's where I'm going. Who in this draft is a Vic Fangio type player and fits the profile of a Vic Fangio player? What guy in this draft? You got to have a guy match up to the style that they're looking for. So who in this draft is a Vic Fangio type player? Let's look at this. Let's go up to the top here. Let's go up to the top. So, who fits him? David Bailey? Versatility? Could play across the front seven? That's a Vic Fangio type guy. Too high in the draft for them, right? Fair enough. Arvell Reese? I think there's some question on him. Lot of skill though. Move him around. Another one of those versatile type of guys. Not the best in coverage though, and dropping. So I would say iffy. Let's go to another one. Sonny Styles. Love the kid. Here's why he would fit great in Philly. Because you got two great DTs in front of him. Two big defensive tackles. However, not a need for a linebacker. That's Vic's forte, though. But they're probably not in the business of linebackers here. It's probably not, right? Next guy, Ruben Bain. I think Vic likes big dudes at that position out there. You don't have to be a sensational pass rusher. Set the edge, keep everybody inside, and, be effective and be able to play the pass game, run game, set the edge. I don't know if he's big enough for Vic up there at 6'2", 6'2 and a half, because you're already struggling with Nolan Smith. And that's a small dude out there. Nolan Smith can't stay healthy because why? He's just not big enough. That dude's never healthy. Can't get any consistency out of him. Not a bad player. But being healthy is part of the evaluation. As it's turning out, Nolan Smith's not really a Vic guy either. Can't stay on the field. To be a Vic guy, you got to be durable too. I don't know if Bain would fit. Here is a Vic Fangio guy. Could you imagine Caleb Downs playing next to Makuba and in between Q and Cooper DeJean? You'd have the best secondary in football. If you put Caleb Downs in the Eagles secondary, you'd have the best secondary in football. Smart, leader, headsy, massive IQ. You put Caleb Downs in that secondary with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, dude, you're killing it back there. You'd be the best secondary maybe in the NFC if you did that. Vrabel should be fired for dog shit. SB made us all watch the Super Bowl. Double fired for losing. Said the Super Bowls. Sam Darnold and triple fired for being an adulterer. Yeah, well, that'll never happen. R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma. Jalen Kilgore, too. Okay? Donnell, if they got Caleb Williams, or Caleb Downs, if they got him and they put him back there with Coop and Q, you'd be the best secondary maybe in pro football. You would rival what you're doing in Houston if you put him back there. He is, without a doubt, I think the safest pick in the draft. He's one of the top 3 players in the draft. The kid was great at Bama. The kid was great at Ohio State. I mean, that would be insane. Now, where do I think he goes? I believe he's a top 10 guy. So that's probably going to be a little bit too rich. But you want to talk about a Vic Fangio guy? There's one dude that says Vic Fangio all over him, and it's Caleb Downs. That is Vic's guy. Anybody would love to see that guy. Can you imagine what that would do to the development? Can you imagine what that would do to the development of your linebackers, your D-line? Help your edges? But you had a secondary like that? Man. Hey, everyone. Have a great and blessed day. Sills, great show as always. Thank you, Oscar. Man. I'll tell you what. So what's the point? Well, you bring a guy like that kid in, you develop him, and you pass the baton. I'd rather leave a place rich than poor based on my and by the way, if Vic Fangio leaves a top 10 defense behind for someone else, I don't know about you, but Vic did his job. He came in, won a Super Bowl, and in 3 years had the number 1 defense in the NFL, had the number 11 defense in the NFL, and then left with another top 10 and a Super Bowl. That's mission accomplished. That's mission accomplished. Hey, guys move on. You know, guys die. Guys move on. So here's another Vic Fangio guy. Hey, by the way, you got to find a Vic Fangio dude in the draft. You just can't draft a defensive guy and go, hey, let's plug him in. What guy fits that mold? Mansour Delane, LSU corner. Would they go there? Probably not. He's a heck of a football player too. Played in a great program, played in a great conference. Covered some of the greatest wide receivers that are in the NFL today. He's another good-looking talent that would fit Vic's defense. I think, now, if I had to say this, by the way, I heard John say something about, Akeem Messidor's age. And Zander, correct me if I'm wrong. So you guys think 25 is old. Well, get used to it. Get used to it. 23, 24, 25. That's going to be the age. You know why? Kids are staying at school. Kids are going to get medical red shirts. Plus, Akeem Messidor is the last of the COVID guys. They got that extra year because of COVID. He's the last of the COVID deals. So if a kid's 25, now here's the problem, though. You sign a 4-year contract. When that deal's up, and if you do extend the 5th-year option, he's 30. Chances of him signing a second deal is less than 50%, in my opinion. Okay? So, I don't know. I mean, that's something to think about. Another guy. This kid, how do you say his name? Dylan Thielman? I mean, to me, I think he fits in the Vikings. And kind of in the Vikings, I see a lot of people throwing Chris Johnson's name from San Diego State. I'd take that guy in the 2nd, 3rd round if I had to pick a safety. I don't know. I think Chris Johnson's a 2nd-round pick. So, but I think you start getting the drop-off from the top of the draft with safety. This kid's the last one. He's a good player, man. Played at Oregon. But I didn't see special. Keldrick Falk. I don't see any production out of the kid. Now, here's something else. He can play in a 34. Does that in a way shorten Super Bowl windows too then? Because the kids are older? Maybe a little. Here, think about it. Okay, there's an offensive lineman that just signed a nil deal. He's a freshman. His name was Cantwell. He signed a deal for $1.3 million annually. Okay? 1.3. Let's say he has a good college career. Not exceptional. Benches 500 pounds as a freshman. He's one of the best recruits the University of Miami has ever had. I think he was number 1 or number 2 on many boards as the top kid in the country. So they got him, right? So let's say this. First year he makes 1.3. Second year he makes 3. Third year makes another 3. Then he makes another 3. This kid's going to make $10.5 million at college. Why the hell would he come out? To potentially be the 20th player taken and make the same money in the pros that he would make at UM. Guys are going to stay in school longer. So guys are going to be older. Okay, so they're just going to stay. I wouldn't come out. Plus, it helps your draft status if you can improve it. They'll alter the CBA's rookie contract guards and structure in 2031 after 4 years of bad drafts. Well, again, there's not 200 players in this draft. That's why Eagle fans think, well, because, look, the free agency period wasn't very good either. This has been a bad year to acquire talent. Free agency and in the draft. Just a bad year. Free agents weren't all that great. They got exceptional money for really good players. And the draft, outside of the top 12, 11 guys, it's okay. Can you see these nil baby 15 years from now on multi-million-dollar yachts being asked, did you play pro? Now, all this from 8 years with nil. Hey, dude, Arch Manning's going to make $20 million before he leaves Austin. He's going to make $20 million before he leaves Austin and plays one down of NFL football. You tell me. Guys ain't playing longer, too. The draft is not deep, but the value is in 2 and 3. Why? You guys want to pay for an old lineman at 23. Zander says that. Probably the most economical thing to do is pick an old lineman at 3. Yes. Safe. It's got some good rich in it. Here, get this. Does it matter? You guys are like this. Who? Who cares? They're the same guy. Talk about position. What's the safest position to draft tonight? O-line. Okay? Who are you taking at 23? Who's ever there? It doesn't matter. Now, I would like to have a kid who played in the Big Ten or the Southeastern Conference or at Miami, because who did Miami play? Not just those shitty ACC teams. They played Notre Dame. They played Ohio State. They played Ole Miss. They played Texas A&M. And they played Indiana. They played all those teams. So you get a better sense of good tape on the kid. Because they played all those. If you just played an ACC schedule, I'd be like this. Yeah, I don't know. Wake Forest and Duke? I don't think so. I don't think so. Louisville? Yeah. Louisville's a good team. SMU was a good team. They made the college playoff the year previous. Okay, so look. There's some Vic Fangio dudes in this draft. And if you're going to go defense, to me, the guy that's the pick for the Eagles in this draft, Caleb Downs. If you go up and get him and you add him to your secondary, people will say this to me. And you know what? Don't go like this, Sills. They're not taking a safety. You're not looking at it right. If you put that safety on that team with Cooper and with Q, you got the best secondary in the NFC. You're missing it. He's kind of a linchpin to bring it all together. You see what I'm saying? He solidifies the unit. And he solidifies your back end. Sills, it's a safety. How much does he influence the other players like Cooper and Q? You mean to tell me it makes their jobs easier? Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this? And I don't know how Howie would get up there and get this kid. I don't know how Howie could go up there and get that guy. I have no idea. I'm making it again. I'm talking about a Vic Fangio move here. Okay? If you go up and grab him and you put him back there and you make Cooper DeJean and you make Q's job easier, they're first team All-Pro for the next 5 years. And they're not having to go along and have up and down safety play like they did a year ago. Look at this. This is how it works. Q's over here and Cooper's on the other side. in the middle last year, you had inconsistent play. Cooper got hurt. Reed didn't have a good guy next to him. And that safety position was hit or miss, right? Year previous, you had Gardner Johnson in there, solidified it. Secondary was number 1 in the NFL. You tell me how important Gardner Johnson, folks, how important was Gardner Johnson to your secondary in hindsight in 2025? How important was he to the continuity of your secondary? Pretty important. I agree with you guys. Guy was pretty important. Okay? I mean, he was pretty important to you back there. So when you moved him, you got inconsistent play at the safety. But Cooper couldn't stay healthy, which, by the way, here you see this right here? Got faith in Makuba. One of the things with Makuba coming out of college and out of Clemson before he went to Texas, he couldn't stay healthy. Get this, you got to rely on a guy staying healthy versus a guy getting better. What would you rather have? I'd rather have a guy working on whether or not he's going to get better than constantly be worrying about whether or not he's going to be on the field. I mean, my God, it's simple. Hey, I want to work on a guy in player development. I can't do anything with a guy who's not able to play. You can't do anything with that. There's no doubt Nolan Smith's development has suffered because of injuries. Look, I don't think Downs is a reality, but if that's a splash move, moving up to get him because it makes Cooper and Q better. Okay. So that's the pick. All right. If Kenyon Sadiq is on the board for the Eagles, and this is my pick, will the Eagles take him? If he's there and he's within reach, do you take him? Do you take him? By the way, Ty Simpson is going to be the guy, in my opinion, that could screw this up for a lot of other teams and that kid slide down. Here. Ask yourself this. So let me just take Kuiper here. So you go down. Let me see where he's got Sadiq. He's got Sadiq at Oregon, Carolina at 19. Okay. How many teams need a quarterback in front of that? Raiders need one. They're going to take Mendoza number 1. The Jets need a quarterback because Geno's not the guy. Hey, you want to hear this? Jets worked out Carson Beck. Just to keep it real there. Hey, Zander, Carson Beck is going to be a second day guy. I mean, the word is he's going to go in a second day. This guy might be a second or third rounder. And I don't think he blows, but I don't know. Cardinals need a quarterback. They're not going to go there, though. Tennessee they just got the number 1 overall pick. Giants don't. Browns do. Commanders don't. Saints don't. They like Tyler Shuck. Kansas City doesn't. Giants get another pick. Dolphins need a quarterback at 11. The Rams have to figure out at 13, how many more years has Stafford got? Could they draft Ty Simpson? Maybe. Baltimore, they don't need one. Bucks have a decision of $60 million or $55 million on Baker. Could they take Ty Simpson? There's the Jets again at 16. Lions got golf. Minnesota could take him at 18. Kyler Murray's not the answer. Carolina seemingly got their quarterback. They're not doing anything with Dak and Dallas at 20. Pittsburgh needs a quarterback at 20. Chargers don't. Right now, the Eagles don't. No, they are 23. Sadiq, here's where I think the best chances of him going. There's no way he's a top 10 guy. So I'm getting out of the top 10. Dolphins at 11, little rich. Cowboys at 12, little rich. Boy, the Rams get another. So wait a minute. Let me get this right. For the final season, for Matthew Stafford, maybe. Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, and Kenyon Sadiq. Man, that would look great. Rams have the 13th pick. What's that? Rams don't have a pick? Rams have the 13th pick, dude. Baltimore? Could you see Baltimore taking him? Because they were trying to get off of their they're trying to get off of their tight end. That could be a pick where he would go. That could be a pick. Yeah. Let's see here. Seals, why is the NFL so butthurt Mendoza wants to stay at home during the draft? Because the NFL likes a TV show. Mendoza wants to be home with the Cuban Americans in South Florida. His mother and father and their parents were refugees in the Mariano boat lift. They were living under a fucking bridge in South Florida when they came from Cuba. And he wants to spend it with his grandparents and his family. The NFL is such an asshole sometimes. They don't get it. He'd be the first Cuban American ever drafted number 1 overall. He'll be representing South Florida and all the Castro Cubans. And they don't get it because they don't give a shit about stuff like that. They only care about the TV show. And Mendoza is a quality human being. That's right. Mendoza's mom's got MS. She can't travel. He loves his parents. He's just a super kid, man. And when the NFL's giving him shit for not being there, hey, I never realized it. Go to my X account. He's been trying to contact me for 4 years. Fernando Mendoza follows me on Twitter. Hey, Sills, can you put a word into me for Miami? I finally reached out. The head coach, Dave Dunn, played at my high school, Stanford Catholic. I finally had a chance to talk to Mendoza. Kid, I don't know how we passed on you, but that was the failures of Miami past. Guy went to a Manny Diaz camp. He was in there. Get this, they gave him a preferred walk-on. And then they pulled it. That's how he got to Cal. And I'm like, wait, you had a shot to get that kid? Lamar Jackson, same thing. Had to go to Louisville. South Florida kid. Hell, even Geno Smith. Tyler Huntley, Snoop, is a South Florida kid. All those guys went to other places because Miami shit the bed on recruiting. You know, I would hang that up. I should ask him for one. Be a Raider one, though, because I don't want anything to do with Indiana beating UM. Dude, his parents and they're from the Mariano boat lift. They came over from Cuba, exiled from Castro in the 80s. They don't know shit. And I played with Mario Cristobal's brother, Lewis. He also went to the same freaking high school. Stupid. The NFL's stupid. It's a dumb thing that they don't know the history of the kid. I'm a big Cuban American fan. Love those folks down in South Florida. Tremendous human beings. So, Sills, this could be the Giants' defense at 26. Thibodeau, Burns, Carter, Styles, Downs. That looks like a good defense on paper. Forgetting one thing, though. The exit of Dexter Lawrence. That hurts the middle of that team, man. That hurts the middle. Nobody's trading with the Eagles to help them. Well, wait a minute here. Hollywood. How many general managers? I'm going to show you something here, guys. Okay? I want you to take this into the draft tonight. Howard Balzer, the original NFL draft host, will be with us in a couple minutes. Pretty cool. NFL 2025. Okay. Okay. This is a good take here. DJ said it, draft of starters, not stars. Modern NFL get 5 years out of him. That's the door climbing again. Teams not looking at age so much any longer. Yeah, because they know that that's going to be an issue there. Absolutely. No question about it. Before we get to Howard Balzer, I want you to take this into consideration tonight because somebody just said this to me. They just said this. They go, Sills, nobody wants to make and help the Eagles out. Well, you have to understand something about general managers going into this draft. Okay? Who's under the pressure the most? Howie has no pressure. Does Ozenfort for the Cardinals have pressure? He works for the Bidwells. Anybody who works for the Bidwells, they're always under pressure. Okay? I mean, end of the day, you're working for the Bidwells. You could have 50 great drafts in a row. The Bidwells will fire you for doing something dumb, like not putting your Coke on a coaster. That's the kind of ownership they have. Okay, so here, Falcons. Right now you got Matt Ryan. He's probably not under any heat. Hey, Eric DeCosta, you got to start doing some stuff. Brandon Beane's terrible. Dan Morgan with the owner that is as crazy as it can get, go down the list of all the general managers that are on the hot seat. All those guys will do business with Howie Roseman. Trust me when I tell you. All right, folks, I got to tell you this. I was so hoping that Howard Balzer would find time for me. You know why? I talked to Joey Johnston this morning on my Tampa show, and he was at the, oh God, is it the Sheraton or was it the Marriott back in the day when Testaverde went up for the 87 draft? And I believe Howard Balzer was still in the building there doing that in 87, if I'm not mistaken. And it was Berman, him, it was Dr. Z. These guys were the first. I think they were sitting at a normal desk, like a picnic table desk. It was wild. You go back and watch Howard. Howard's got the black hair. Now he looks like he's Moses. And you know, and I'm like, I'm watching this and I'm like, we had to get him on, man, because there's going to be 600,000 people, 15 million people watch this. And this man here had to have won Emmy Awards for putting that draft show on. We bring him in now with us. Howard Balzer joins us. And by the way, Hall of Fame voter. And we're so proud to be longtime friends with our man. Howard, you know, great. Was it the Sheraton or the Marriott that you guys were first at?
Let my people go. I love that comparison there. But anyway, when you said that, I first started thinking, where was I in 1987? Because in 1980, I think by that time they were in the Marriott, but I think in 87, I might have been on site at NFL Films, believe it or not. I had a very varied experience in the 9 years that I did the draft for ESPN. Began in Bristol in 1980. That was the first one they ever broadcast, 1980.
Who was the team?
Well, the team that was with me, well, Bob Lee was the ESPN anchor in Bristol. And with me was Vince Papale, Eagles fans everywhere, of course, the Mr. Invincible. He was on the set, along with Upton Bell, he was an executive, might have been a general manager at the time in the NFL. His father, Bert, of course, owned the Eagles for a time and was also an NFL commissioner way back. And so we were the team. And you talk about a picnic table. Richard Deitch did a story, I think it was 6 years ago, on the 40th anniversary of the first draft. And he came up with a picture that I had never seen, and I didn't remember it. And the picture, you can Google the story, you can find this picture. And there, all four of us are crammed with a cocktail table in front of us. It wasn't even a picnic table. It was like a little cocktail table. And there's papers on it everywhere. And there's papers on the floor. And that's where we were doing the draft in Bristol. In New York, George Grand was the ESPN host with Joe Thomas, the former NFL general manager, who at that time was between jobs. And I believe Sal Marciano, who was with New York TV station then.
Yeah, local TV. I grew up with him.
Right. And then they had a reporter in the balcony interviewing the fans. And I'm pretty sure that was at the Sheraton. And they had a reporter in the stands interviewing the Giants and Jets fans were there. And that was the extent of the broadcast. There was no one on site anywhere. I mean, ESPN had only been on the air since the previous fall in September. And this was, as I recall, it was just pure talking heads television, because we hardly had, I don't know if we had highlights at all. ESPN hadn't done any college games. I don't believe that previous fall. Maybe
not until 1986.
Yeah. And so it was, it was bare bones television. And then in 82 or 81, I was in Bristol again. I'm not sure in 82 if I was in Bristol or New York, but in 83, I know I was in New York for the famous Elway to Marino draft. 84, I'm pretty sure I was in New York again. 85, I think, was the first time they sent somebody to a team. And I was sent to San Francisco, and I was at the 49ers headquarters with a TV reporter named Greg Wyatt. And that was the Jerry Rice draft for the 49ers. 86, I'll tell you a quick story on 86 in a moment. 86, I was back in New York, but not at a table. I was with Chris Berman at this huge draft board, and they would go to us every hey, look at this. The number 3 guy on the board isn't he? You know, he's still there, and we're at pick 10. What's going on? And that was happening. 87, they sent me to NFL Films where I was doing reports, and then in 88, which was my last year with them, I was in Anaheim with the Rams. But the interesting story about that big board, that draft, that big board in 86, was that after the draft, Bill Fitz, who was the executive producer, who is still alive, and I believe has to be in his 90s, he would send a note to people after the draft saying, hey, what do you think worked well? What do you think we can improve on? Things like that. And the thing, Dan, is no one knew who had put together that draft board individually. I mean, we knew that it was an ESPN draft board, but there wasn't any, credit to whoever did it or a couple people, whatever it was. So I answered Bill and I said, you know what? I think Mel Kiper started on the draft either that year or the year before, and he was in Bristol. And I said, you've got Mel Kiper. This is what he does for a living with his book and all that, ranking players. I said, if you're going to have a big board again, you should have Mel with the board. And then I did that. Well, guess what? The next year rolls around, and Mel's in New York. And that was the last time I was in New York for the draft. But that was the birth of Mel's big board.
Man,
right? I don't know if they ever would have done it without it. Maybe they would have, but that was, some of the memories that I have. And I'll tell you, the 83 draft, I've always remembered this.
By the way, folks, 6 Hall of Famers came out of that draft and numerous All-Pros.
And here's a crazy story that I'd always known that I had made the pick for Denver for John Elway in my mock draft in the Sporting News when I was at the school, right? I know I'd always done that, but I didn't have proof of it, right? And so, but the crazy part, and I also had the Colts taking Chris Hinton, which when the draft was actually conducted, the Colts took John Elway and the Broncos took Chris Hinton. And then along with some other things, they traded those players, but the trade didn't happen until a week after the draft.
Yeah.
No one remembered that I had nailed it in my draft with the actual trade for those 2 guys. But the other part of it, and I got the proof of it that I recall other things from it, is on social media last week, someone posts, hey, Howard, he says, I don't know if you know this, but the Sporting News, they've put it all on archives, all the issues on the internet. And he says, and I went back and I was enjoying reading your column all through the 80s. It was always, I enjoyed going back and reading that stuff. So I said, So I go to the archives. I find the 1983 issue. I click on it. I click, turn the pages, and there's my mock draft with not only John Elway going to the Broncos, but I had also correctly predicted 2 other trades in the top 10 involving the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Oilers. And the Rams then selected Eric Dickerson, 2nd overall. The Seahawks took Kurt Warner, Kurt with a C, the excellent running back. And then at 9, the Oilers took tackle Bruce Matthews, who ended up being a Hall of Famer. And I had those picks exact in my mock draft. And it was 43 years.
In the greatest draft of all time.
Yeah, with the 6 quarterbacks, and all those things. And of course, I get calls from radio and every year when ESPN, runs their 30 by 30, Elway to Marino, and I'm, have a few clips in that when I make some comments and, here, there, and everywhere. And I think I made reference because there were so many rumors about what the Colts were going to do with that pick, and so there were so many teams mentioned. And of course, in the Elway to Marino, the greatest part about that was Marvin Demoff, who was Elway's agent, had kept his diary or kept his notes from there. And they referred to that throughout the broadcast. But there were so many rumors. And I mentioned at one point the possibility of the Broncos making the trade, but it was in the context of everybody else. But, it didn't happen on draft day. And so, like I said, it was forgotten when the trade was made about a week later after the draft.
That 30 for 30 on Elway Marino and all that, were you shocked that you heard that it was so close that Bill Walsh was thinking of trading Joe Montana to Denver for John Elway. I mean, Montana had just won another Super Bowl, and he would go on, I think, to win 2 more. He had 3 at that time, I maybe 2 at that time, and he would go on and win 2 more. And, were you shocked that you heard that they were thinking of trading the reigning MVP and the reigning Super Bowl most valuable player?
That was surprising. Yeah, it was no question. I'm sure a lot of people were shocked at that.
I was floored.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. And so it's funny too. You made the mention of my hair, and right after the 30 by 30 came out, or no, it wasn't right after it came out. It was, I don't remember when this was, maybe 10 years ago somewhere. I went on a radio station, and my Twitter handle, the photo of my Twitter handle is from the 1981 draft, right, where I'm on camera, and the host of the radio station says, "Hey, you look different then than you do now." Said, it was 30 years ago. What do you think?
Absolutely. Howard, let me go into this here now. Again, 600,000 people are expected to be there. 15.3 million people are expected to watch it. Why has the draft become what it is? I mean, you have to be shocked when you guys would, papers on a cocktail table and, no video. I don't even know how you got your intel when you got out of the first round, because back then there were 12 rounds. How the hell did you know all the guys going 12 rounds? I mean, to see the technology today is incredible.
We didn't televise, or I shouldn't say, ESPN didn't televise the whole thing. And the first round would last a long, they're cutting it back year by year to make it quicker for TV and all that for the first round. But as I recall, there were times where the first round took 5-6 hours.
Wow.
So I don't think we stayed on for much longer than the first round. And so you had a pretty good idea of who the top players were. But the way it has grown, it's interesting. The NFL meetings were here a couple of weeks ago, and I happened to come, just walking around, and there's, Roger Goodell talking to some people, and I went up and said hello, and we started chatting about this, that, and the other. And I said, I got to ask you, Roger, and people forget this, of what moved the NFL to move the draft out of New York to begin with. And it's only about, 10, 12 years ago now, I think it was, when they found out that it was at Radio City Music Hall by then. And because of as we know, every year, Easter and, of course, Passover, too, are on different dates because it's all based on the lunar calendar instead of what we go by. And so the dates are always changing, sometimes March, sometimes April, late April, whenever it might be. Well, the time for the NFL draft was the same time as Radio City Music Hall as Easter, and they were having their Rockettes Easter show. And they told the NFL, we can't move that. And so what's the NFL going to do? So I think they went to the Felt Forum or something near Madison Square Garden for that draft because it was late in the process. And that got them thinking seriously about moving the draft out of New York. And they did, I believe it was the next year, to Chicago. And so I said to Goodell, I said, you think you might even still be in New York if it wasn't for the Rockettes and Radio City? Yeah. He said, who knows, we might be. You never know. But obviously the crowds weren't there in the first year. But this thing, obviously, it's grown exponentially. And as there's so much, Bill Polian calls it the draft industrial complex of what the run-up to the draft is. Because everyone's an expert. And all the TV shows now and all the internet stuff, everybody's an expert on the draft, right? And you have all this discussion. He says it's entertainment. And he says, and there's nothing wrong with that, but don't sell the people on by making it sound like you actually know what's going to happen in the draft, because no one knows. Most of the teams don't even know. And so, but all of that has fueled this interest year after year. And as the crowd started to grow, all of a sudden cities started bidding for it. And it's almost as big for cities like Pittsburgh, like Kansas City, other spots, Green Bay, where they know they're never getting a Super Bowl. And so now the draft becomes the city Super Bowl for that time when they have the draft and attract all those people to it. So it's just become a phenomenon. There's no doubt about it. And like you said, who could have ever dreamed that it would have been like that 46 years ago, when the famous quote that I've told many times is when Chet Simmons, who was the first ESPN president, approached Pete Rozelle, the NFL commissioner, and said, they're just looking for programming. They're looking for anything to put on the air. He said, we're interested in televising the NFL draft. And Pete Rozelle said to him, well, why in the world would you want to do that? Who would watch? Now we know. And not only is it on the road, but it's on 3 networks, right? You got ESPN, ABC, and NFL Network, doing it. I mean, it's just, it's off the chain, and all the discussion, all the chatter, which doesn't really mean anything. It's just talk, but it's clickbait for podcasts and talk TV shows and all those things. And fans buy into it. Hey, fans buy into it because of the betting markets, right? I mean, someone was saying the other day that Jeremiah Taylor moved from like plus 800 to like minus 150 in one day when the story came out a couple days ago from some evaluator, some reporter that, hey, it's trending towards the Cardinals if they can't trade of picking Jeremiah Taylor. And all of a sudden, Jeremiah Love. This is all of a sudden people are betting on it, right? Because they, and they're not betting on it because they absolutely think it's going to happen. But hey, if you can bet on it at plus 800, that's pretty good odds. So you go, that's pretty good odds. But then as more people bet on it, that's when the odds come down, because we all know these betting places, they're in the business of making money, right? And they don't want to lose too much. And that's why the line moves. And I don't see any of those places going out of business in terms of betting.
No way. I remember getting phone. I remember getting a phone call on a rotary phone from Dick Steinberg going, hey, we may take you in the with the 28th pick. And you're like, I'm sitting in my dorm room. Now you got guys sitting going up to New York, fancy watches, a lot of money here. What is the one thing, Howard, for you covering the draft all these years? Obviously, the guy in Philadelphia, Howie Roseman, has really put a good handle on being able to understand the draft. But covering all these general managers over the years, what has been the one intangible that you think separates the guys that get the draft and guys who don't get the draft?
Yeah, that's a great question, because there's so much nuance to it. And, it's almost, I'll give you one quick example, and then I'll answer your question. Bobby Beathard, who was considered one of the great general managers of all time, always felt that he was tainted by his selection of Ryan Leaf with the second overall pick when he was the general manager of the Chargers. And so people started wondering, has he lost his touch and this and that and all the other? Well, the thing is that I always say, most of the time, 95, whatever percent of the time, I mean, if the Chargers had to pick Ryan Leaf, someone else was going to very high. And the thing you don't know is, would the results have been the same if a player went to a different team than the one he ended up with? And when you have continuity in your organization and the same people doing it most of the time, for the most part, you're not firing coaches every 2 or 3 years, which means different systems, offensively, defensively. You're looking for players that have different fits for that. A lot of players you have now don't fit what you're doing, and you can't get rid of them all. And so I think that's what ends up hurting the GMs that, quote, make mistakes, because they're going with the best information possible. And most of these guys they'd be picked by someone if this one particular team didn't. But it all depends on where you go a lot of times. It's like Kevin O'Connell, the coach of the Vikings, said when they had Sam Darnold that 2 seasons ago, and he told a reporter that I've always felt that organizations fail young quarterbacks more than young quarterbacks fail organizations. But one of the reasons those organizations fail those guys is because they're not very, at least in the quarterbacks, they're not very good when the player goes there. And then all of a sudden now they're changing the coach, and maybe there's an injury, and does he have the players around him? There's so much of that goes into it that I had a general manager once. I was doing a radio show for Sirius at the Combine, and the general manager, we were talking about the draft just generally and all. He says, bottom line is, and no one wants to hear this, we're just guessing. For the most part, we're just guessing on guys, and we hope that we guess right more than we guess wrong, because if we guess wrong, we're not going to have a job. And what Howie Roseman has done, he's very consistent in building the trenches for his team overall, which gives them a better chance at success. And for the most part, they've had consistency in their coaches all those years with Andy Reid. Then they hit a spell there with Chip Kelly, didn't work out and all that. But the teams that have consistency in the way they do things and stay as consistent and stable as possible with the schemes and all that have the best chance of success.
You know what, Howard? You just said something that I think I figured out the secret sauce to Howie Roseman and the Eagles. It's funny you should say that. If you look at their bios for their front office, their scouts versus their coaches, they have turnover every other year when it comes to position coaches, and sometimes head coaches last only 5 years. If you go to the Eagles bios of the front office and the analytics department and in Howie Roseman's talent evaluators, they're there 17 or plus years. So you think that the continuity in that front office and how they evaluate, plus they pretty much keep the same scheme, whether it's Sean Desai or whether it's Vic Fangio, it's kind of the same scheme, so it could be almost plug and play. You keep the same evaluators, you keep the same scheme. That means you're going to be able to evaluate and have less misses when it comes to drafting. Is that what you think has happened in Philadelphia all these years?
Totally. No, it's a big part of it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Look at all the success the Patriots had, for 2 decades. And they were doing it with a consistent way of doing things. And there can be changes, but you still have to keep them to as much of a minimum as possible. I read a story the other day, and this is something that all your viewers and all fans should always keep in mind when all these. I mean, I saw something on social media about 2 weeks ago where there was a poll, and I'm sure the poll weren't very many people, but they polled fans on if they thought they could draft better than the general manager of their favorite team, right? 37% of Seahawks fans said that they could do it better than John Schneider. Are you serious? So that tells you all you need to know about fans. Interviews this week. I read a story 2 days ago in The Athletic, and I urge people to go and read it. It's by Jordan Rodriguez, who does an absolutely incredible job of digging into the changes, all the technological changes that we've experienced in our society, and how NFL teams are adapting to that to bring that into their evaluations, their information, how quicker you can do it, and all that. It was a fascinating story. And then within the story, it had a click to a story that I had wonder where she had done a 2-part series where she was embedded with the Rams. That's another team that has done well for a long time, since Les Snead has been the general manager over the last, I think he's been there 14 years now, 15 years, something like that. She did a 2-part series because she was covering the Rams then, a 2-part series where she was embedded with the Rams. They allowed her to travel on the road with some of the scouts. And, she certainly had to be wary of certain things that she could print, but it was fascinating to read this of what the Rams did. And any fan that would read that would come to the conclusion, I don't have a clue about the draft. Because fans and those in the media, and I'll tell you, Daniel Jeremiah, Mel Kiper, Dane Brugler of The Athletic. A lot of people don't know Dane because he's not on TV and doesn't have a TV presence like Jeremiah and Kiper, but he does a great job with his draft analysis for The Athletic. They all do a great job, but they're analyzing players in a vacuum, just what they see from those players. They can't do it in the context of what teams do, because teams look at these guys differently. And so, but the overall thing is even those guys don't even have half the information that the teams have put together and accumulated on these guys, from on the field, the tape, the interviews, the medical, all those things. Nobody has access to that. And yet they think they can draft better because they'll point to a mistake. Point to a mistake that a team made or teams didn't draft well. See, they don't know what they're doing. Well, sometimes it goes a lot deeper than just who they picked and and more on what the situation was that they went into.
Because I have a bunch of friends in the NFL as you do. I get a thing and I get a synopsis of the Bledsoe report. People don't even know what that is. I mean, the Bledsoe report is a bunch of area scouts for the league. They put in the top 1,000 or 2,000. I don't think fans even realize this. Those guys get the top recruits in the country. Then they go and give that to the teams that subscribe to Bledsoe. I don't think there's as many teams as it used to be in the past because a lot of in-house now, they like to do it in-house. Yeah. But teams used to subscribe. Al Davis hated it, so he never subscribed to it, but the Eagles do. And so what they do is, right, Howard, if I'm trying to explain to people, they'll give them about 2,000 prospects. Howie takes his guys, and they go over those guys with a fine-tooth comb. Then they get that down to 200. Then they get that down to about 70. Then they get it down to 40. Then they go to their coaches. And then you don't think a coach like Vic Fangio sitting around watching a college game on Saturday. There's no way in hell he's doing that. But he'll sit down and watch clips of a guy and tendencies and what the guy might do, to what your point was. It's a very intense process. Then you say the medicals, then the interview that you have at the combines. This is a 24/7 operation just to find out if a kid's a fourth rounder.
No, you're 100% right. And that's all that goes into it. And then the other part of it, obviously we all get hung up on the first round, right? Well, the first round is a product of how many teams there are in the leagues. And by the way, the E in Blesto stands for Eagles, because when the Blesto, and there was another one way back in time before the teams got as sophisticated as they are now, and Blesto was the initials of some teams that were in this. It was the Browns, the Lions, the Eagles, and the Steelers, and that's where Blesto came from.
Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but they give the teams a starting point. But Gil Brandt always used to tell me, I love talking draft with him. He always used to tell me how you get hung up on the first round. He said, there's only, in every draft, there's only about 15 players, maybe a few more in a certain year. There's only about 15 players that have true first-round grades.
Yeah.
And then from the middle of the first round to the middle of the second round, they're all very similar. And so who gets taken at the end of the first round, who gets taken at the beginning of the second round, all those players are rated very close together. And that's the nature of this after your obvious top-of-the-line guys are off the board. And that's true through the rest of the round. I mean, heck, you get to the third, fourth round, and you might, we're looking for a corner, and you've got 5 guys there that have very similar grades. And so then you go on gut instinct, this is the guy we think fits us better, or whatever it might be. But those are, like I said, those are all the nuances that, that go into the draft. And so it that becomes a starting point for those teams that subscribe to it. But they're still, like you said, counting on all those guys. I mean, how big the scouting staffs are now from what there used to be a time when teams would only have 4 to 6 scouts. I mean, national scouts. Now teams have 10 plus, even more, to really get as much. And the GM always gets blamed, the one who's making the final decision. But obviously he's going on a lot of the information that his people supply to him before he makes his final. It's more collaborative than people realize. But, the GM makes the final decision, and he's the one at the top of the pie chart, and he's the one that gets the scrutiny if, picks don't work out.
You agree then. To me, I think there's probably 12 dudes in this draft that are probably first-round grade guys. And then, as you said, I probably would do this, Howard. From 15 to 60, they're probably the same dude. Within a grade or two,
right?
Different, yep. Right? So in a draft like this, and I say this because of Nil. Howard, in college, I can make $750,000 and staying at Miami, then going into the NFL, having a shot at not making a team, losing that money. I'm going to stay at UM for another year if I have eligibility, trying to improve my draft stock. To me, the reason why the draft is not heavy and the value is not in the first round, I think it's in the second and third best player, Vail, plus finances, is because I don't think this draft is as deep. Because in years past, like the 83 draft, everybody stayed 4 years. You wanted to go into the draft to make money. Well, I'm making money in college now. I think that catches up in a couple of years when you get a backload of guys and you'll start getting that where the drafts will be deeper again. But don't you agree?
Yeah,
some of the best players in the country right now, you're not going to see those guys in the draft until next year because I'm going to stay in college.
No, exactly right. And then you have the additional situation where because of NIL, you have all this jumping around, and you have guys, two, three colleges, sometimes. And it's good for a player, if they're not playing at a certain place, to go somewhere else and they become a starter and they play well, they're on a team's radar. I mean, Fernando Mendoza is a perfect example of that. But then you have guys that are, they've been there, they've been at the same school for a while, they stay. I mean, even Ty Simpson. I mean, here's a guy everyone's talking about. He has 15 starts in his college career. And how do you put that into perspective into what you're projecting him to be if he becomes a starter and wins a job in the NFL when he doesn't have that much previous experience? And it's why also, Dan, at the end of the round, you'll appreciate this, I know, the second half of the draft, when you're drafting offensive linemen, you see a lot of offensive linemen starting for teams that are 4th, 5th, 6th round picks. And why is that? Well, a lot of them, they did stay at one place. I mean, they're not getting the big NIL money, right? They did stay at one place. They put together 45 to 50 starts in college. And all of a sudden, you're drafting a guy who's played a lot of football, even though it still is certainly a big leap to the NFL. You've played a lot of games.
Absolutely. And
so that's, that helps them in their development with an NFL team. And that's, that's really where you can build your offensive line. Yeah, it's great to get one of those top guys, if there are top guys, whoever they are in a specific draft, but you build your line with a bunch of those other guys that come in and show they can play. And of course, we know too, the line most of the time it's more important to some of its parts than a lot of the individual play, because they play as such a unit. Everybody has to know what each other is doing on each play. But and Howie Roseman realizes that. I mean, heck, look at the Eagles' record when Lane Johnson's on the field and when he isn't, right? But he realizes that. I remember Andy Reid's comment at the Super Bowl a couple of years ago when the Chiefs were playing the Eagles, and someone asked Andy, what do you respect most about Howie? Well, he understands that the game is won in the trenches. And everybody says that. Everybody gives it lip service, but a lot of teams don't do it in practice. And Howie and Roseman does. I mean, he not only recognizes it, but goes out and makes sure to do something about it. And that's what enables them to be, and even in a year where they're not great, they're still consistently pretty good, because they're very strong usually on the offensive and defensive lines.
How about this number here, Howard? So in the last 3 drafts, and I'm gonna take this draft coming up here in 26 here tonight, and you tell me if this is how the NFL changes in their landscape as well. Potentially 32 picks. So for 3 years, you'll have 96 first-round picks. Of those 96, 93 were taken from Power 4 conference and Power 4 teams. Only 3 dudes. Quinyon Mitchell was one of them, the offensive guard from the North Dakota State. And I think a kid from Toledo is probably again going to go in this draft tonight. Does that tell you, is that something that the league and again the talent evaluators will look at? Because you're trying to cut down the chances of failure in the draft, right? So when you see these kids moving from non-Power 5 into Power 5, you're not going to draft outside of that in the first round pretty much ever again. You're not going to see the Darryl. You're not going to see the kid like from Washington, Darryl Green. You're not going to get a Texas A&I guy going into the first round, or Jerry Rice, right, from Prairie View State or wherever the hell he was from.
Mississippi Valley State.
Yeah, Mississippi. You're not going to see that, right?
Probably not. And that is certainly, you always have the line that the evaluators, where the tape doesn't lie. Well, it doesn't, but you still have to know how to evaluate it. And especially when you have guys from those smaller conferences. And guys can make it. Certainly there are many examples of it. But it's like you said, you don't want to risk too much. And when your level of competition isn't that high, you have questions. Because, and look at it this way, even from the Power 5 teams, and I've said this for many, many years, Dan, whatever school you want to pick, Ohio State, okay, a lot, even a tackle, especially when you go to the offensive line, look at who they're going against, right? But if you're a pass rusher or an offensive lineman, even though you're playing a bunch of games against really good teams, you also have a bunch against some not so good teams and some not so good players. Yeah. I mean, even the big schools, they don't have 22 guys being drafted, right, from their starting group. Obviously, they're not all draftable in 1 year, but they're not all being drafted, and so that's a big part of it. Who you going against? I mean, you'll go against pros every week in the NFL, and even though there's varying degrees of ability in the NFL, even the worst defensive line in the NFL is hands above some of those guys that never even get in an NFL training camp, or if they do, they don't last very long. And that's one thing that I've always believed, is important about the whole process, that it's a huge jump from college to the NFL. And what we see happen is that obviously there are guys who make that transition very well and play well as rookies, and then the owners of the team that have a guy that doesn't, they're saying, well, why couldn't we do that? Why? Well, those guys for the most part are the exception, not the rule, in terms of coming in as a rookie and really making a big impact. And so it takes time, and that's why we see guys second, third year it takes to really learn what it is to be a pro, especially after the time that these guys have spent on football in their final collegiate season, right? You go to camp at, whatever it is, second, third week in August, then you play your season, right? Then you're most likely in a bowl game, right? Then you're in an all-star game. Then you're preparing for the combine. Then you're preparing for your pro day. Then you're getting ready for the draft. And all these things that you're doing when you're preparing for those things have nothing to do with football. It's all about how you're tested, right? Then as soon as the draft is in, well, you're at your new team in the first or second. Yeah, for rookie minicamp, and then OTAs, and then a little time off until training camp. And you've been going at football or something related to it from August until the middle of June straight. And then boom, you're into it in training camp. That's a long haul for rookies. And to me, the ones that come in and do a great job, they should be heralded, but you shouldn't criticize as much the ones that just don't come right out of the box and are really, really good, because that is a tough transition when you've gone from playing with teenagers or guys in their 20, 21, playing with those guys, and then all of a sudden you're playing against grown men with families and kids and and all that. It's a whole new world.
I tell people this all the time. In college, I killed everybody. You get to the pros, you ain't killing anybody. You're not killing anybody. All right, Howard, I have a debate all the time. 2 last ones here for you. By the way, I appreciate your time on a day like this. Thank you so much. I have to ask, and you know what? So there's a lot of heat going on with Jalen Hurts right now in Philadelphia this year. And they're hiring coaches that don't fit his skill set. The wide receiver, A.J. Brown, doesn't want to be there because he doesn't like the quarterback skill set. He doesn't like the passing offense. And here, Howard, here's the numbers for the passing since Hurts has been a passer in Philly. First year, they were 28th in passing. The second year, 22, he was great. They were 9th. In 2023, they were 16th. In 2024, the year they won the Super Bowl, they were 29th. This last year, they were 23rd, and they were 31st in 3-and-outs this past year. It's been a terrible passing offense, and the football team has won a lot of games. Now, if they wanted to run it back and keep the same last 4 years, Howard, they're 50-18. Well, for whatever reason, the quarterback's coach was fired, the OC was fired, Jeff Stoutland was fired, and they want to hire a Sean McVay type guy. I want to ask you this question about Jalen. A lot of people are talking about, where he is. I think he's really one of the most complex guys to cover here. I don't think he's a Hall of Fame player. I think he's an okay player. I saw Sam Darnold win a Super Bowl, and He was a journeyman guy, and he was $30 million. In your opinion, you a Hall of Fame voter, do you think of Jalen Hurts as a Hall of Fame guy? I know you'll do more research later, but do you look at him as a Hall of Fame player?
My first reaction is no. I agree with you 100% on that. I think that he's good, maybe somewhere between good and very good. I think that, he does a lot of things well. Certainly his running ability helps that offense, but that's not enough to be a Hall of Famer. If you're a quarterback, you've got to be, a very proficient, successful passer. And at times he can be, but it's not consistent. So no, in terms of Hall of Fame, I don't, and the heck, they could win 2 more Super Bowls with him. And I don't know that suddenly catapults him to being Hall of Fame worthy. And to me, the whole thing, and we have this debate all the time with quarterbacks, especially, but with a lot of different things. I mean, football is the ultimate team game. It's the ultimate team game. And it just drives me nuts when I hear people say about a quarterback, well, he won or he lost because he really, 1 of 11, one of 50, 1 of 48 on game day, where heck, the backup linebacker could blow a play and it costs you a game, whatever it might be. There's so many factors that go into winning and losing. And so, but you need to be competent at the position, obviously. And I think Jalen Hurts has been pretty darn good at that. But to rise to the level of Hall of Famer, no, I wouldn't put him in that class, especially when you consider some of the quarterbacks who haven't gotten in and maybe will never get in, that you could argue have done a better job than Jalen Hurts has so far in his career.
How do you look at a guy like Jim Plunkett was 8-2 in the postseason? He's got a Super Bowl MVP. He's got 2 wins, but he was a journeyman guy too. Is that kind of how you look at it? Like, hey, you want to know winning? I mean, Jim Plunkett was a journeyman. I think he was a rookie of the year with the Patriots. I don't think he was very good with the 49ers. He goes across the bay to a great team and a loaded team, Howard. Yeah. And the guy goes on and he's 8-2 in the postseason. They win a boatload of playoff games. They're in an era again of and I think the 70s and 80s were the golden era of the NFL. Why? Because you couldn't move anywhere. You were good teams playing against good teams every year. You knew who the good teams were. I think it's harder today to build a championship team than it was then because, again, player movement. I don't know. How do you look at a guy like Plunkett?
Well, I mean, there's a reason he's never been discussed, and he's been out of the game a long time.
2-time Super Bowl champion MVP with an 8-2 postseason record. All these Jalen Hurts guys need to listen to. He's never been discussed.
Right. He's never been discussed. And there are some people in the last couple of years who have brought up Jim Plunkett as a comparison to Eli Manning, who many people thought was just going to be slam dunk. And I never thought about that. I never thought that was the case. And so, like you said, excellent teams. I mean, the argument for Eli with the 2 Super Bowl wins over the Patriots, and he made big plays in those games. But if it wasn't for their defense stopping Tom Brady in that offense, if it wasn't for their defense, they wouldn't have even been in position to have a chance to win those games at the end. But Plunkett's career has been, some people in the last couple of years have said, well, Eli Manning at least has been among the 15 finalists, even though he hasn't advanced to the 10 both years. But people say, well, if he's worthy of being discussed, then Jim Plunkett should too. Because if you look at the best years of Plunkett's career, and it was a pretty good stretch where he was pretty darn good, they're comparable to Eli Manning's best years.
Yeah,
it's an interesting comparison. But even as a senior, Plunkett hasn't gotten into the discussion about potentially being a finalist, even after these last 4 years when they've had 3 seniors finalists. He hasn't even been close. So that pretty much says how the committee thinks of him. Good career, solid. Certainly was. We'll never know what would have happened if he had gone to a better team when he was drafted. I mean, what would have happened to Steve Young? I mean, after the USFL, he starts out with Tampa Bay and then does nothing there and ends up with the 49ers. What would have happened what would have happened to his career if that didn't happen? Those
Kurt Warner. I mean, he doesn't land in LA or St. Louis. I mean, you never know anything about the guy.
Well, the other thing is, even with St. Louis, I don't think he gets into the Hall of Fame without the years in Arizona, where he helped that team elevate from anonymity, basically, to being pretty good and then getting into a Super Bowl and almost win it. Without that, I don't think he's in the Hall of Fame, no matter how good he was for those 3 seasons with the Rams. And so those are all those factors that enter into the discussion, which makes it difficult. But I go back to my point, winning whatever it might be. I mean, heck, Peyton Manning was on 2 Super Bowl winning teams, and the second one in Denver basically had little to do with what he did, right? Drew Brees is going in this year, 1 Super Bowl season, 1 Super Bowl win, and look at all the years that Drew Brees passed for 5,000 yards.
So for you, Howard,
the team won 7 games and didn't even get into the postseason because the team wasn't that good.
So in your opinion, a Super Bowl win for a quarterback, unless we're talking about multiple, okay, in your opinion, it's the cherry on top of the career.
Yes.
That you build, okay? It helps you get through the finish line for Hall of Fame if you have all the T's crossed and the dots on the I's, right? Like when you're a guy, like I would never, and I tried to explain this to people in Philly, they don't want to hear it. I go, if you're comparing Dan Marino, or you're saying like the guy Dan Fouts, and you're trying to put Jalen Hurts in that kind of room, you're out of your mind.
Yeah, exactly. I've always said,
not even in a conversation with that guy.
Dan Marino, in my mind, of the quarterbacks that I've seen in person or watched in my long years covering the league, he was the best pure passer I've ever seen. I mean, the guy was amazing, but he didn't have the team around him for them to really advance and be great. And I remember having a discussion in an interview like this once when the whole thing, Brady's hands down the greatest of all time because the team has won, all those Super Bowls with him at quarterback. Well, look at some of those years. Look at some of the Super Bowls. He didn't play that well in a bunch of those games. But the Patriots were the better team overall than the other teams. And so the interviewer said to me, well, who would you pick? If you were starting a team, knowing everything you know about these guys, who would you pick?
Marino.
Yeah, and I said Marino or Elway, which is interesting. Yeah. 83 from Marino to Elway was the 30 by 30. I said I would pick those 1A and 1B, but you wouldn't pick Tom Brady. Yeah, you say, well, they won all those games, but you wouldn't pick him that to start your franchise just based on his natural ability and what he has excellent ability. Don't get me wrong, and it was tailored to that system and that offense and all those things, but he's not in the same stratosphere as John Elway or Dan Marino.
I tell folks this last one here, Howard. Back in the day when I played, 43 guys made a team. 71 guys make a football team today because of the practice squad. How many?
Well, no, I think it's 53 and 60. It's 69.
69 players make an NFL team today compared to 47 back in the day, 43 back in the day.
And some teams get an extra practice squad if they have an international guy.
Yeah.
Those guys aren't a threat to be on the roster. There's still a guy you can practice with and, does stuff during the week that helps the team prepare for their upcoming game. So, and most teams have one of those guys. So really it's right there at 70. So yeah, that's a lot of guys that you can work with. And of course, when you start having those injuries, boy, oh boy, I don't even know if you knew about this rule. The Cardinals were hit with this last year. I didn't even realize this rule, where you can only have 90 players. We know in the offseason there's a 90-man roster limit, plus one international guy. During the regular season, it stays at 90 plus one, counting active roster, practice squad, and injured lists. So those guys count against your 90. The Cardinals had so many injuries last year that for the last month of the season, they couldn't sign anybody unless they cut somebody from injured reserve because they didn't have enough spots. And for their last game of the season,
I never knew that.
They only had like 12 guys on their practice squad so they could have some other guys available for games. And that's how the injuries, that's another whole story for another day on how injuries can affect teams, especially when you get a boatload of them, like a bunch of teams often have.
Real quick, you think Mendoza has a great career?
It's possible. I mean, and if it is, will it be
I
with
don't see generational.
No, I don't see generational either. And I think he has the ability to do a lot of great things, but he has to have the team around him. And that's the absolute truth of it.
Going to the Raiders.
Yeah, going to the Raiders with a good running back in Genti. They got to improve the offensive line, got to improve the receiving core. There's a lot of things on that offense that they've got to be better at. And that's one thing I think it'd be hard to believe that Kirk Cousins doesn't start the season just because they don't want Mendoza to experience really difficult times coming right out of the box because of the team around him, unless, a lot of the guys that they're bringing in turn out to, that they think will be better than they have, because that's a big part of it. I remember trying to remember the quarterback from Auburn, Jason Campbell gets picked number 1 overall by Washington. I'm pretty sure it was back in the day.
It was.
And he ended up in the first 4 years of his career having 4 different offensive coordinators. How can you have success?
You can't.
When every offseason is spent learning something new instead of fine-tuning what you learned the year before and just getting better at it, not only for him, but for everybody on the offense. You're going through that every single year. And sometimes I think people think that that's easy. Oh, that's no big deal. Well, it is. I mean, you look at Peyton Manning going to the Colts, and fairly certain they had, and even Brady for that matter, with New England, most of the time was with Josh McDaniels as offensive coordinator. And the Colts were very consistent with their head coach and their offensive plan scheme for virtually all the time that he was there with the Colts. So that's a big part of success, especially for quarterbacks.
Is that Emmy Award behind you? Is that for like the draft?
That was actually for some commentaries that I did on TV in St. Louis back many moons ago. I was kind of shocked to get it, actually, but yeah, that's from that. It was about 40 years ago that they got that. I don't know if the NFL draft, if it got Emmys back in the days.
Wow, my God. Well, I'm going to say this, La Cruz, you know what that's called in Italian? It's called the cross we bear. Anybody that's covered the Bidwells for as long as you have, Howard, I got to tell you, man.
I'll tell you, someone asked me here locally the other day, the worst first-round pick the Cardinals ever had. And I said, in Arizona or St. Louis? So I'll close this with a great story. And I thought of this the other day because I was doing a podcast, and before they played it, they played Phil Collins' song from 84, Against All Odds, right? And I was thinking of 84, and that reminded me, by the way, Irving Fryer was the first pick in the draft that year because the USFL had picked off so many top players. But in that draft, the Cardinals selected a speed burner receiver named Clyde Duncan from Tennessee. And people can Google this, and you'll see that he never did anything with the Cardinals. And then he went on to one other team, might have been Green Bay, did nothing there and was out of football. And I'll never forget Jim Hannafin, the great Jim Hannafin, great offensive line coach with the Cardinals for a long time and other teams, chain smoker. There was a time when he was the head coach of the Cardinals and he's smoking cigarettes on the sideline. They had to tell him to stop. Doesn't look good on TV because he's just banging cigarettes the whole game. Well, anyway, he would tell this story.
Both throwing him or banging cigarettes on the sidelines, right? All right.
So he would tell this story, and he would tell the story with a cigarette, but when he probably did what he did, it was probably with a cigarette, where after their minicamp, he goes up to George Boone, who was the Cardinals guy who made the picks back then. And he says, "Hey, George, I got a problem with that first-round pick that you gave me." And so George Boone says, "Well, Jim, what's the problem?" And Hannafin goes, "He can't catch."
I thought you were going to drop a little love of, what was his name? Billy Joe, or what? Freddie Nunn?
Freddie Joe Nunn?
Yeah.
Freddie Joe Nunn was actually a pretty good player.
He was a good player, man. He was.
He was actually their leading sack guy for many years until Chandler Jones broke the record a few seasons ago. But yeah, minor issue with the receiver if they can't catch.
But
right?
hey, oh no, absolutely. I played against the Cardinals in their final year in St. Louis at Old Busch Stadium. Neil Lomax. Were you covering the team then?
Yeah, I'm sure I was there.
Hey, Neil Lomax. What's his name? Jack Buck was on the call, and Neil Lomax was the quarterback. One of the Noga kids was on. I think Peter Noga. I think he had.
I think
Nico.
Yeah, he's
Nico was on that team. Who was the running back? That little short guy they had.
Stump
Mitchell was the running back. He was on that team. That was a pretty decent football team, actually, if you think about it.
And they had Roy Green.
Roy Green, the Olympian.
Yeah, well, Roy, no, I don't think he was a defensive back.
Oh, that's right. He was a double player. He was a dual threat guy.
Yeah, they did that for his first year when Jim Hannafin, they had problem with receivers. They might have had injuries. He says, hey, I'm going to put, he catches the ball pretty well in drills. He says, I'm going to put you at wide receiver here. This is really, and he played both ways. And all of a sudden, he's making catches all over the place. And that led to him giving up defensive back. And for the rest of his career, he was a wide receiver. He was a heck of a player. He and Lomax had an excellent combination for quite a few years.
I hate to keep you this long, but why haven't you put my boy O.J. Anderson in? He's a Miami Hurricane. He's a Miami Hurricane.
I know.
He's got some pretty good numbers, man. And also, he's got some really great accomplishments, man. And people don't realize his first 2 years, I think if I'm not mistaken, he led the NFL in rushing. And he was like the rookie of the year, the MVP.
Well, he was offensive rookie. I'll never forget this forever, because when the Cardinals selected him, everyone thought that they were going to take Charles Alexander, the running back from LSU. And they took O.J. Anderson. And I didn't know that much about him. He played a little bit in anonymity at Miami. It's beyond, they weren't very good.
Right.
I'll never forget going to, I don't know if it was mini camp or training camp, and seeing him up close. I said, oh, my God, this guy is like chiseled. This guy's incredible. And you could just see it right away that he was a football player. First game of the season, Dan, against the Dallas Cowboys, the regular season. And at some point in the game, I think it was late in the game, he gets a handoff, bursts through the line of scrimmage, and goes 76 yards for a touchdown. And the roof almost blew off. There was no roof.
He's a big dude, too, man.
And if there was a roof, it would have blown off how loud it got after that. That year, he rushed for over 1,600 yards, was Offensive Rookie of the Year, and in that game against the Cowboys had 176 yards. So he did a lot of excellent things. He's been in the mix with the seniors. He's been like in the top 25 to 30 for several years, but he hasn't made that jump into the next 12 to get discussed. And I put a presentation for him together. I think I was on the seniors committee about 2 or 3 years ago, that's sent to the entire committee with, I think I might have this in my computer. I'll try to find it and send it to you.
I'd love it.
And I didn't put it together. A guy at the NBC affiliate in St. Louis put it together, and just put some clips. And it's like you watch it and you go, oh my God, you forget how good he was. And I made all those points, but it hasn't gotten a lot of traction so far. But I'm not sure if I probably have your email, but text me your email.
I will, because I'd love to see that. Would you mind me sending that to OJ? Because I'm really good friends with him.
I think he might have it, because one of the things was there was a guy in St. Louis that started, the OJ train to try to get him elected. And he was trying to get me on TV stations. I kept telling him, that doesn't matter. You can do all that publicly. It doesn't matter. What you got to do is get to the selectors and have them recognize that this guy is worthy of moving on in the process. And I always stress that to him, but he worked with him and he did some things. And so, but yeah, I don't know if he forwarded it to OJ or not. But yeah, if you want to do that, that'd be fine. So, man,
I just got to tell you that I'm going to do this right now because I want that, because I really love. Me and OJ are really good friends, and I really love the guy. He's a Hurricane, obviously. So, Howard, have a great time tonight. Your time today was precious because, again, one of the first guy that was involved in the NFL draft. And thank you so much for our friendship over the years. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Always fun telling stories. I just love telling some of those stories.
I can sit here for you and me could do hours together.
I didn't even get to the Joel Bucksbaum stories. Those are classic too. I mean, Joel was a classic unto himself with his draft evaluations and his personality and his voice and all those things. I have some great Joel stories that we'll have to tell you another day.
What did you make of Dick Vermeil as a talent evaluator? You had a chance to work around him when he was in St. Louis. Yeah. What did you make of him as a talent evaluator? Well,
the one thing about him, I think he was very good at evaluating people in addition to football players. And he wanted the guys who he knew could play football, but would do what it takes to win. And that was a big part of what he did in terms of the culture that he instituted in teams. I mean, there's no secret to what he did with 3 franchises, 2 of them that were dismal before he got there for a long stretch of time. And by the 3rd season with both the Eagles and the Rams, he had them in the Super Bowl. And then when he went to Kansas City, they hadn't been as bad as those 2 teams, but they were miring in mediocrity. And all of a sudden, 3rd year, boom, they didn't get to the Super Bowl, but they got pretty close. He's one of the greatest guys I've ever covered, one of the greatest human beings that I've ever covered, and stay contact over the years. It's amazing what kind of guy he is, Dan, in terms of people. Every time I talk to him, and it's not a lot, but every time I talk to him, at the end of the conversation, my wife's name is Brenda, but she has a nickname of Bernie. At the end of the conversation, every time he says, "How's Bernie doing? Say hello." Every time he says that. To me, that's in some ways, the measure of the man.
A communicator.
And all of a sudden, I got to tell you a quick story. 99 Super Bowl. It's in Atlanta, and I'm the pool reporter for the Rams. And the pool reporter is only one reporter can go to practice, talk to the coach afterwards, send a report to the rest of the team. I mean, the rest of the media. So it's brutally cold in Atlanta, which I wasn't expecting. And they're practicing in Suwannee, which is wide open. The wind is blowing. And let's say I'm not dressed for this weather. Right? I go out to the field. He's walking out with the wool hat and a parka and gloves and the whole 9 yards. And I said, "Hey, Coach, how you doing?" He says, "Howard, get your ass inside and tell Todd to give you whatever you need to stay warm." And Todd was the equipment manager, Todd Hewitt. And I went into the building, took a quick right turn, and there's this room he has commandeered with enough cold weather gear to outfit an army in Siberia. It was unbelievable. So I talked to him, how did you know to bring all this stuff? He says, "Well, I checked in advance before we even played the NFC Championship game, saw the weather was going to turn bad in Atlanta. And if you recall, they had a huge ice storm on Friday of that weekend."
Yep. Yeah, I was there.
So I just had everything loaded up to take down there. What he did was he rented locally some space heaters to line the sidelines so that when guys were standing around while a couple of groups were working, they were standing around waiting for their group, they could keep a little bit warm because of the weather. And the great thing about it is what he did, recognizing it right away. And I got gloves, I got a hat, I got long underwear. I always joke to this day, I should have asked for a parka, but I didn't do that. But just that he did that was incredible. And the other thing that helped was I had a 2-page pool report just talking about how the Rams were prepared for the cold weather and what Todd Hewitt had done. But to me, that was the measure of Dick Vermeil and how he was and is as a human being. Just a quality man.
Absolutely, man. I love Dick Vermeil. Every time his wife is like his organizer, wherever. If you called her, you called for Dick Vermeil, you got to go through the wife first before you get him on. So, Howard, thank you so much. Have a great time tonight. I appreciate you so much. We'll do this again for sure. Thank you, my friend.
Take care. Have a good one.
You got it. The great Howard Balzer. Imagine being there for the very first draft. How cool is that, dude? Being there and seeing and where it's gone and where it's, gone to. And how that thing has absolutely just exploded. Over 600,000 people are going to be at the draft. 600,000 people are going to be at the draft tonight in Pittsburgh. I told you guys. By the way, Howard is a Hall of Fame voter. And he just told you. That guy's nowhere near being a Hall of Fame player in Jalen Hurts. I know that broke your little hearts. He said he can win 2 more and won't matter. That's one of the 50 voters. Hey, little brokenhearted. I mean, I hate to be the guy to be the bad guy. Big Cells. I guess I'm the Billy bad guy. Hey, wait a minute, Sue. You better hope he cares. He's a voter. Who do you think you're talking to? Who do you think that guy was? He's on the veterans and the normal committee. Boy, ain't Hall of Famer. What happened? All right. Anyway, I just had to make that point. Without further ado, once again, Big Sil's right. All right. Big night tonight in the National Football League. What does your boy Howard Roseman do? At number 23. Without further ado, I hear a bunch of O-line talk in the morning, and I was going like, we're going to go O-line, Blake Miller. Mr. Fanu. Me, I don't give a shit who it is at 23. They're all the same. It's like Howard just said. They're all the same dudes. Outside of the top 3 O-linemen, they're the same guys. It doesn't matter. Without further ado, my friend, Big Zay, Zander Krause joins us now. How you doing, bro?
What's up, Sills? How you doing, brother?
Excited about tonight?
I'm thrilled. I'm pumped, man. I love the NFL draft. Not just for the Eagles. It's just a dope night in the NFL. You know, you see a bunch of dudes get to the league. You see a bunch of teams try and add players, and Eagles have been pretty damn good. So it's been a lot of fun in recent years for the Birds. But big one tonight. Big one tonight. We'll see what the Birds do.
It is a great night when you get that call and a team calls you and says, hey, how'd you like to be part of the National Football League? Dude, your hands go numb. You're like, this can't be real, dude. You're like, really? And the guy goes, yeah, you've just been drafted by the Buccaneers with number 56. And you're like, I'm in the NFL, and there's only been 28,000 guys ever drafted in 91 years.
That's a pretty incredible feat. 28,000 men is not a lot of men.
No, almost 100 years of football here. All right. How do you see this playing out tonight, man, at 23, in your opinion? Before we get to the questions here, how do you see it playing out?
I think they're trading up tonight, dude. I don't know who it doesn't mean it's going to be for the O-lineman that I think, but I think they got to go up. I mean, how many times have you heard draft people talk about there's not that many, bona fide first rounders in this draft. So I don't think Howie's trading back. And if he's identified a tackle, maybe it's Sadiq, the name you've been calling for. Whoever the Eagles have identified that they want to go and get, I think Howie's going to have to go up and get him. So that's my early thought, that they're going to go up. How high? I don't know. John threw out going to 15, which is where they were mocked a lot recently with good guys, not bullshit guys. Daniel Jeremiah, people who are in the know. They had him trading up to 15. What's it going to cost? The first and the early 3 is what John was saying. That feels a little rich for Howie to me, especially if they don't feel that great about the tackle. But I think they're going up to get their guy, and I think they should prioritize the offensive line, man. I know you've been beating them up on it. I know you've been mocking me on it with Blake Miller. I understand, but this is not a year to act like everything is peaches and cream. We have more questions on this offense than a long time, and the offensive line is a big one. So I'm addressing that and trying to set that right. I mean, was it Howard who just said Andy Reid at the Super Bowl? What do you respect most about Howie Roseman? He actually lives it when it comes to prioritizing the trenches. And Howard even said, some people say it, but they don't live it. And that's people like this, Trag, who says, don't go O-line. You got to live it. Get the O-line right.
Okay, well, let's ask this most important question coming up in 26. What unit do you think is going to get out of the gate in the first month and a half of the season that will be hitting and playing better football, the offense or defense?
Well, the defense is more turnover, so you would think it'd be the offense. But, hey, we thought the offense was going to be that unit in the beginning of the year last year too, and they really weren't.
For me, I'm pretty confident Vic Fangio's defense is going to be
even with the 5 with the starters change.
But your turnover in the coaching staff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, on offense, it's crazy. It's a lot.
But you're counting on. Okay, do you think you're going to win games this coming season because of your defense or offense?
Well, defense has been what it's been in the last couple of years.
Okay. Well, don't you think it would be more credible to continue to build the defense up and let the offense try to get steam and Like I said a guy that, listen, there's no way I think you can get him. So let me ask you this. You put Caleb Downs at safety in between Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. How much does that guy make those other guys better by solidifying the back end of your secondary?
Dude, that would be a nasty.
You'd be the best secondary in the NFL.
That would be a nasty secondary.
It would help your front seven.
That's probably one of the names that I wouldn't be upset if they went with. If they went to an unconventional position, like the safety is an unconventional spot, especially for Howie to draft in round 1. But if you're gonna trade up to, let's say, 10 or 12 or somewhere to get Caleb Downs, whoo,
see,
I think
listen,
I'd be pretty happy.
I don't want to trade for a safety, but does that safety impact? Did we not see Gardner Johnson impact Reed Blankenship's play?
Yeah, but still, I think where me and you disagree right now is you're more trying to optimize for 26.
I would hope every Eagle fan on the planet would want to win this year.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that, but
you have contracts on the offensive side that's not going to help you get better over there for the next 2 years.
Yeah, but for example, like if they go, you have to pick and choose your spots.
Okay,
just because you want to go and win does not mean that you can empty the clip.
Okay, you can't do anything on offense though for 2 years.
Right. So.
Right, and you want to put a tackle behind the kid?
Don't you want to get a piece that's going to be a building block on that team whenever that switch happens, or if that switch happens, or if that growth curve happens?
And and I heard you say this, and I'm going to stick to it. So you're going to put that kid on the bench, no impact whatsoever in the first year.
Can I ask you, you have him drafting Sadiq. Like, do you think Sadiq is going to get the ball? I mean, seriously, even if AJ's gone, Goddard, Smitty.
Someone's got to take up for those numbers if AJ's gone. AJ had 1,000 yards
come to
every year.
Tight end number 2? With all due respect, I don't. I think it's going to go to Smitty and Goddard.
Goddard?
Dude, yes.
No, because you could flex. This kid's a hybrid. He's not really a tight end. You're going to move him all over like Nakua. That's how you're going to move him.
Do that. I'm not going to believe it.
Okay. Well, you got to – how else are you going to get your offense better?
This is the tough part about the offense. They're all paid. So the only thing – we talked about this earlier.
The only thing you can
really hope for in the offense is schematic changes that could unlock player skill sets, which is a tough thing to sell when the quarterback struggles and doesn't want to go under center, doesn't want to run play action. So you're basically hoping the O-line's better.
You're hoping it's healthier.
Healthier, right.
That's my strategy? Oof.
Well, I don't think
and then the other part of the strategy with you is put a kid on the bench.
Well, you got Sadiq coming in like he's going to be the savior.
I got a kid
coming in. How's that going to work?
I got a kid coming in that's going to help the offensive coordinator.
Let me ask you a scenario.
I'm trying to move your stick.
If doomsday happens, like happened in 2020 when the whole offense got blown to smithereens, not a player from that team is still here except Lane Johnson. But if doomsday happens, what would you rather have? An offensive lineman for the future or a tight end for the future?
In this draft, I'd rather have somebody who can help my offense for my next quarterback. Dude, this is not a superstar draft. Where you're sitting at 23.
I don't disagree with that. I will not be upset if they draft Sadiq.
You're not getting a special guy at 23. You're not.
I won't be upset if they draft him. I just don't think it'll work that well.
Okay,
I don't think he's going to fix what people think he's going to fix. I mean, shout out to my guy in the morning who's been watching, who's a big watcher of my morning show, Gary, Motorscape Gary. He's been pounding the table for Sadiq this whole summer, and he basically has the expectation that Kenyon Sadiq's going to come here and be an all-pro tight end. And I think Dallas Goedert's underutilized. I think Devontae Smith is underutilized. I think A.J. Brown's underutilized.
Well, I say
so. What makes you think that with the same quarterback and the same head coach, you're going to draft another skill position guy? They're not going to be underutilized.
Because in this organization's history, every single tight end has been a great one. Everyone for the last.
Do you think Goddard has achieved in his career what he could, though?
No, he didn't because of injuries. He was a guy that needed to be more, and he needed to be healthy. And the quarterback didn't help him. This latest one here didn't help him in being able to throw across the middle of the field. Hurts hurt his ability on catches and targets because he refused to throw across the middle of the field. Here's at 23 what you're looking at and the type of player you're looking at. Blake Miller. I got that guy at the top of the list because of your boy.
No, I don't think it'll be Blake. I think it'd be someone else. But
Denzel Boston, wideout Washington, maybe Keldrick Falk Auburn edge, Freeling Georgia OT, and potentially Akeem Mesidor edge. That's what you're looking at. That don't come off as special to me at 23, bro.
Well, there's something floating around right now of some dude. I've never heard of him. You know, it's always Eagle. By the way, Eagle fans, I fear that the fan base is falling into being really a dumb bunch. I mean, I go on X and it gets me concerned. I think we got a smarter bunch in the chat here on JAKIB, but man, I go on X and I read some of these Eagle fans and I'm like, man, what are you smoking? But anyway, that's beside the point. Some dude, I've never heard his name. He has an Eagle NFL podcast, apparently a reporter of some sorts. He put out on his podcast today, kind of like a Freudian slip type of thing, where he was like, yeah, Jonathan Greenard already got traded. And the guy was like, what do you mean? Or something. And he was like, yeah, I think I think the deal's already been agreed to. And they said, to who? And he said, to the Eagles. That's already out there, right? And it wasn't out there. So I don't know if it was a slip. I don't know if that's actually happening, but that would be obviously a good addition, you know, at edge. Definitely better than I think any of the draft guys you're saying. But that's going to make that first pick even more important, dude. If you're trading number 2 for an edge rusher, that's going to make that first pick, that first and third round picks even more important. And I think more offensive. So, hey, maybe it is Sadiq, but Caden Proctor will be walking away with tonight.
Okay, listen, I heard there's also something going on in Tampa that the Eagles will move up to 15 to get Proctor there at 15. And they would make a trade with the Bucks. The Bucks would take Akeem Mesidor at 23. That's kind of also what's being floated around. But so, dude, are you sold on Jonathan Greenard?
He's a better player than anything we got. So, John's high on him. I'm a little concerned about the drop in production last year, but John's like, oh,
26 games missed.
Yeah, right. Not my favorite, but I don't know. I will say this. If the Eagles draft, let's say Kenyon Sadiq in round 1, and they draft, I don't know, Danny Dennis Sutton in round 2, the Penn State edge rusher. Do you like that, or do you like Kenyon Sadiq and Jonathan Greenard?
I'll take Sadiq and Greenard.
Right. So I think that's the exciting part of it, is that there's probably nobody you're going to see in round 2 that would land in Philly that would have the impact that Greenard could have. But yeah, it's a risk. To me, it's not a slam dunk as some, but it is what it is.
What's the best case scenario tonight for the Eagles in round 1?
Ooh, good question. Best case scenario?
Yeah.
That a real player gets passed on and falls right to their lap, kind of like last year with Jahad Campbell. Now, it's hard to project who that is because the Eagles board is the Eagles board, but you know, if you're talking about even a guy like Francis Mogiai could fall to 12 or 13, and then that makes a run on the tackles. Now you have Monroe Freeling there, you know, at 23 or something. That could be.
If that kid floats out of the top 10, if I were Howie, I'd run up that thing to get him at 13.
Agree. But some people are projecting him to play inside, you know, in the future. I think he's going to be a right tackle, but
he's 6'6.5".
I know.
People think he's short.
Dude, look at the size of some of the guards in the league now.
I know.
Mekhi Becton was 6'8" playing guard.
I know, man.
You know? So I think he's outside too, but I think that probably maybe I will say this, if Sadiq falls to 23,
would you take?
I'll have.
How about this? Look, I have a topic here. If Sadiq is on the board at 23, should the Eagles take him?
What offensive line are on the board? What if Sadiq and Proctor are both on the board?
So Sadiq's the best tight end in the draft. You're going for the 4th best O-lineman.
But that's a moot point, because what if the 4th best tight end is better, or 4th best O-lineman is better than the best tight end? What if it's a shitty draft for tight ends?
Wait.
What if it's the tight ends that everybody's projecting because of a combine who had 480 yards last year?
Hold on here. It's a guess anyway.
Well,
at every position. It's a guess anyway, dude.
By the way, I don't think there's a world that exists where 23 Proctor and Sadiq would both be available, but yeah, I mean, look, you got to take whoever they think.
How about if he's at 19? Do you go up to Carolina and grab him?
Maybe. I could see Carolina as a spot to trade. I would rule out 18 and 17. I don't think maybe the Vikings, but I don't think the Lions would trade with us. They need a tackle. So I think 15 with the Bucks, 16. Who's 16? Forget.
After the Bucks,
Jets, I think.
Let's
see.
see.
The Jets.
Yeah,
yep,
Jets. It's that Indy thing. The Jets got him from the Sauce Gardner deal.
By the way, did you see the? I know, whatever. We don't have to talk about that shit with the drama. But
with what? Go ahead.
The Diana Rossini thing. I heard those. I'm not even saying this to rag on her, but those poor kids, bro. She's got a son who was born in 2021. His name is Mike.
So some people in here think Vrabel loses his job. You think that?
I just can't believe. I mean, you know what? Has anybody seen that meme of Future or that it's like a GIF of Future? You know who Future is, a rapper, and it's like it's an evil world we live in. It just reminds me of that. I'm like, holy shit, this bitch is evil. And so, man, what the fuck? What? Oh man, it's an evil world we live in, folks. I mean, this chick's cooped up in 2020 with Vrabel in a bar. Then she gets married at the end of 21. Now she's got a kid named Mike.
Let's say this.
Bro, are you kidding me, Sills?
It's one of the spouses or it's something else because they're targeting Mike Vrabel.
Oh man. Yeah.
Because, dude,
get this. Right.
They've already done this.
I just saw that crap on social media before I came on.
I did too. I saw it a couple minutes ago.
You got to be kidding me. But whatever.
I don't think it has any impact at all.
The Patriots just put out a statement in support of Vrabel. I don't think he's going to get fired. I think you're right. He's the target right now.
Yeah. Well, here's what I thought was just cheesy and just really just stupid. The third day of the draft, Mike Vrabel's going to be in rehab, and I'm like, rehab for what? Hitting it?
I mean, really though. Well, that it's funny you said that because the next thing I was going to say was, whatever crisis management firm either of these two hired should be blasted into the sun. I mean, seriously,
right?
Who thought it was a good idea for Mike Vrabel to come out the day before the NFL draft? Which, by the way, we're all a bunch of NFL nerds, all of us. To the common person who doesn't maybe consume the NFL as much as all we do, the draft, you might look at that and say, whatever. You're going to miss the NFL draft. This is like the Super Bowl. It's bigger than the Super Bowl in some ways because every team is involved. You're missing. Wait, counseling can't take place on Sunday or Monday or Tuesday?
So cheesy.
I mean, what are we doing here? But who knows? Who knows? I'm just going to, that future thing. It's an evil world we live in.
I'm like, hey, so he's going to go to rehab and what are you going to tell the guy? And, you know, I don't know if you ever seen Analyze This with Robert De Niro, if you ever saw that movie. So he goes like this. The guy's analyzing him, and he's talking to him, and he goes like this. He goes like this. He goes, what were you doing? He goes, yeah, I was with the girl here. He goes, well, your wife? No, my girlfriend. He goes, you're married. He goes, what are you going to generalize? And the guy goes like this. He goes, how come you have a girlfriend? He goes, I can only do certain things with her that I wouldn't do with my wife. What? He goes, what? What are you kidding me? That's the lady. She kisses my kids. I'm not doing that. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking of Mike Vrabel going like this, like this. He's going like this. Hey, she's Michael Mott.
Do you see a tampering issue here?
Depends if anything comes out of it. Like if she was like telling other general managers what the Patriots' plans were. Like, here's another issue. bro, some of them incentive bonuses that she voted on for Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year,
sure.
some of them were so
They
close.
They won't follow up on it. Watch. They'll all bury it.
Hey, by the way, do you think she gets stripped of being I hate to say stripped, but do you think she gets stripped of that Hall of Fame vote?
Who knows? Maybe. I would strip her of it, but I'm not in charge.
Man, how about what's his name saying that Hurts ain't a Hall of Famer yet?
Well, I agree with him. I don't think Hurts. I mean, look, to me, I think it proved.
Agree with him.
This is what I think it proved.
If he wins 2 more Super Bowls, I think that's not.
Hall of Fame voters are by default, all right, going to be more interested in individual accolades and individual statistics because they're Hall of Fame voters. They're not. You don't vote teams into the Hall of Fame. You vote players into the Hall of Fame. So by their very nature, they're going to be more interested in and more intrigued by and more enamored by individual accolades. So it's in a way contradictory to the way a fan might see it. You have a lot of fans in here who are like, why do you want him to throw for passing yards when we can win games? I agree with the fans too. I mean, the fans are right. If you're the fans, would you rather your quarterback throw for 4,500 passing yards or would you rather win a fucking Super Bowl? I'll take the Super Bowl every single day.
Absolutely.
But I think it does show that what you often say about the individual stuff is correct. That, when you do get to those Hall of Fame talks, when you do get to the individual stuff and the way that will be told in the history books, some of those statistical outputs for Jalen will drag him down a little bit. I mean, if you don't think a Hall of Famer in that room is going to say, guys, he threw for 2,900 yards when they won the Super Bowl, you're wrong. They're going to say that.
They're going to say it was a non-factor.
Right. Just like you just heard him say about Peyton Manning's third Super Bowl with the Broncos.
Yep.
Same thing. So, look, I don't have a problem with it. To me, Jalen is not a Hall of Fame talent. I don't. Do you think that he is? I mean, I don't think he is. No. I don't think there's a Hall of Fame talent on the Eagles right now outside of Lane Johnson.
I'll tell you what, man. I like Malone. Man. I don't think he's going to get there, but boy, I'll tell you, man, he is a really good football player. I think Q has the beginnings. I think the White Lightning has a shot at it too.
Well, he's early. It's a little early for him.
Way early, but like Devontae, no. AJ, no. Lane, dead slam dunk. Barkley, no. But they have a lot of good football players, man. They're good players. I mean,
I kind of think the Hall of Fame should be even more strict on their standards.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, you're only going to keep having more players, so come up for debate. So if you just start opening the floodgates, I mean, it's not going to be, it's going to lose its luster. So I would try and be even more guardrailed with that, with who gets in.
Okay, let me ask you here on this one. So do you think in this draft, you may get a sense in the direction of Jalen Hurts' future and how they pick? Follow me. You keep picking players and taking players. Say they start getting more wide receivers. To your point, Sills, why the hell would I get Kenyon Sadiq in one when we can't get the ball to him? You start drafting wide receivers and you got a whole boatload in the whole room of them, of wide receivers, when theoretically, I've told you, you've only averaged 29 pass catches in the last 5 years at wide receiver 3. And you're signing and drafting all these wideouts with premium picks?
Well,
I mean, bro, that's not what they've done here. Have they not loaded up more offensive line guys over the last 5 years in depth in the draft more than wide receivers? Johnny Wilson late, Darius Cooper late. They haven't really drafted anybody in the top 3 rounds in the last 3 years, right?
No.
All of a sudden now they're going to go in the second round because they lost AJ, and that you're going to add that to Elijah Moore.
Yeah, see, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to. But look, this question could go either way in any different scenario. I mean, you could make an argument if they draft a skill position player, then they're drafting for Jalen Hurts. But you could also make the argument that if they're drafting a skill position player, they're setting the team up for when the next quarterback comes in, he's got a litany of weapons. Same thing with the offensive line. You could say it's for Jalen Hurts because they're trying to fix the run game now, Or you could say it's for the future when they make a change, turn the page, and they have an offensive lineman. So, it's in the eye of the beholder, that question. Whatever somebody thinks about how they feel, nobody knows how they really feel. I'm of the belief there's a disconnect. I'm of the belief that Howie and Nick feel differently about the quarterback than the owner does. And at the end of the day, the ace in the deck is the owner, and Jalen right now has that owner has the ace on his side. So I think Jalen will be here until either the owner doesn't want him to be anymore, or he falls so flat that it can't be denied.
There's no way the owner is going to side with Hurts over Howie and Nick. There's no way.
No, I think I'm not saying it's not siding with Howie. Like it's not. It would never be
Howie's going to do
like I disagree with you. No, because you have to understand how
Howie if Howie thinks the best interest is to move on from Hurts, he will.
But if he knows that the owner's not going to do it, he won't, and he might not even try. I mean, if you remember,
but that affects his legacy.
There's been moments here, though.
But that affects his legacy too.
Correct. There's been moments though where you see where the owner wants something, and and John's been saying this for years. He's a very passive owner in the sense of he doesn't directly state what he wants. What he'll do is he'll ask these questions, right? He'll like inquire with questions that will kind of lead you to his answer or to what he wants. So there's a draft video from a couple of years ago when they were about to get Cooper DeJean in the second round. And I think Howie wanted him too, but you could see the owner. They published the video, the owner, they kept getting closer. Are we going to lose him here? Are we going to lose him there? Are we going to lose Cooper there? Are we going to lose him there? Oh, shit, the Rams just traded to 39. Are we going to lose him at 39? Boom, 40 came around. Howie traded up, drafted Cooper DeJean. Now, I'm not saying that Howie didn't want Cooper DeJean. I'm just saying that's an instance where when Howie knows what the owner wants, the Howie is going to get the owner what he wants. If Howie believes that Jeffrey Lurie is uninterested in moving on from Jalen Hurts, then I don't think he's going to try and move him. I think he's going to go to him and say, this is what we got to work with. This is the contract. Are you going to approve of this, or is this something we should think? We should think, double think.
So let me read this here.
Lurie loved DeJean. I mean, don't you remember the story John told on Bird 365 recently? Yeah. How he wakes up to a 4:30 a.m. phone call, about the long snapper or something, or whatever it was, the whatever how John said. I mean, the owner's interested. He's going to get what he wants.
Here's this statement here. I want to read it. New England Patriots full support Mike Vrabel's decision to prioritize his family first as well as his own well-being. Mike has been open with us about his commitment to being the best version of himself for his family, this team, and our fans. And we respect the steps he's taking to follow through on that commitment. We are confident in the leadership and communication Mike has established with our personnel staff throughout his pre-draft process. While he will not be present at the facility on Saturday, that's day 3 of the draft, we know the draft evaluations are complete, and Elliott Wolf and his personnel staff with Alonzo Highsmith are prepared to execute our draft as planned this weekend. There's no way they'd ever move off that guy.
Yeah, you're missing the Super Bowl of the offseason for fucking counseling.
It's window dressing.
I hate being talked to like we're stupid.
Well, that's exactly
that's why I hate politicians. Talk to you like you're stupid.
Yeah, no. They're making you feel better about how you look at him. They don't give a shit about that.
No, they don't.
It's when really third day.
Look, I'm not to be fully transparent here. I mean,
I don't give a shit either.
Would you fire the coach who just took your team to the Super Bowl in year 1?
I wouldn't even. That would never cross my desk.
I don't disagree.
Now, wait a second. We're talking about father of the year, man of the year. That's a different.
Hey, he's an asshole.
Right. We're talking about character. Wait. We talking about football in the NFL, or are we talking about a character people? Since when does that collide?
I wouldn't fire him. That's all I'm saying.
No. Now again, I'm not having him over to dinner.
I do think people got to be like. Well, I don't get why people are out there like, ooh, there's a double standard. I'm like, because one's a man and one's a woman. I'm like, first off,
no shit.
Please don't be such a fucking simpleton. And second off, they have different jobs. Mike Vrabel is employed to win football games. Diana Rossini is employed to be a reporter of the NFL. There are different ethical standards that apply to each of those careers. If Diana breaks those standards in her career, but Mike does not in his career, they're going to have different ramifications. They're going to have different consequences. I don't understand. Why would Mike not get fired, but she did? She's a reporter.
I'll tell you why Eagle fans are pissed is because her reporting has been right about AJ leaving.
Well, no shit. It better be right. Dude, if it's not right, how bad would she be?
Hey, let me here. Right. I'll tell you what, I'd be more pissed at her for getting that wrong than screwing Mike Vrabel. Hey, because that affects me. And so at the end of the day here, I'm like, wait a second here. Yeah, people got this wrong. You know, Eagle fans, they're upset because she was the first person. You called her this, you called her that. It had no bearing on the truth.
Nah, you know, the most diabolical thing in this story came out today. And it's that she has a son named Michael. I don't care. I don't care what anybody thinks.
Are you saying that's Vrabel's kid?
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, now he's pulling a big sills on
No,
you.
I'm just saying that is fucking crazy. You're gonna what? Who knows what? Allegedly, and then you're gonna have a kid, whether it's his or not. Right now, the perception in their family is that it's her husband's kid.
Hey, Kim, you want to name the kid Zander?
Dude, it's wild. Oh, whoa. What do they call them? 304s. It's an evil world we live in. I need to find that future meme. It's an evil world we live in.
Did you see Howie Roseman trading for Myles Garrett tonight?
No.
Could you see him trading for Max Crosby tonight?
For one first, yeah. Not for two.
You think there'll be any significant player trades of those kinds of talented players? Because the draft is not that great. Could you see, like that wide receiver they got from LSU at Jacksonville being moved? You didn't name him Zander. You told me you wanted to name him Zander.
Enough of that, Sileo. Enough of that, please. Enough.
You see any big player movement tonight?
I can see it. Yeah. I mean, you know, I think Howie. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm now of the belief they are going to trade for an edge. I'm believing the headlines. I don't know if I'm falling for it, but I'm believing it. I mean, it seems like, you know, there's a lot of smoke around. That's what Howie wants to do. It makes sense because there's not really a great edge rushing group in this draft. Another big fall off position. Howie said earlier this summer he doesn't really want to draft defense in the first round because they've drafted so many defensive players. So take that second pick and go and get a proven player. What I hope is that Greenard is the smokescreen and it's somebody better. But okay. I do have something that made me a little sad.
Tell me.
So you know how I've been calling for Trayvon Walker to the Eagles? Yeah. So he obviously got a new contract. So he's not getting traded. That's not what.
Big money too.
I honestly wanted to believe that they were trying to get Trayvon Walker in the last couple of years. And Howie the Eagles put up a video yesterday of Howie and Nick doing like draft trivia or something in the last like together. They put it up like yesterday. And one of the draft trivia questions was name every first overall pick of the draft since 2010, I think it was. And they started rattling them off, right? They got every single player except for Trayvon Walker. And I was like, man, they haven't even thought of Trayvon Walker in years, which means they were never trying to trade for Trayvon Walker.
He's a good football player too. He's a really good.
That's what I got sad at because I wanted them to get Trayvon Walker.
I want to bring something back that Howard said that made me kind of understand Howie Roseman's secret sauce a little bit more. So we were talking about
trenches.
Hang on here. Okay, that too.
Not tight ends.
But wait a second here. Well, you've been great in tight ends your entire
Yeah, in the second round. Zach Ertz, second round. Brent Selleck, second round. Dallas Goedert, second
Pete
round.
Jackson, first round.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
100 years.
Fuck off.
Hey, so check this out. So he said something, and I added this into it. If you look at the coaches that are on your current coaching staff right now, there's not one guy on your coaching staff that has tenure over 6 years on your roster right now. Do you know that?
That's crazy.
Not one coach on your staff right now has tenure over 6 years.
On the offensive side?
On both sides.
Well, Vic.
Vic's been here 2 years.
Oh, you mean in Philly?
Yeah.
Well, does that
Wait,
matter that much?
I'm going to show you why.
Howie's got. Hey, how about Howie?
Wait. Howie's staff and scouts, the majority of them have been here north of 17 years. How they're good in evaluating talent, what Howard said, they look for the same guy. They have a practice on how they do it. There's no turnover in that front office, bro. They have no turnover in Howie Roseman's front office. Those guys are there 20
Well, they
years.
do.
Well, some, but not like.
But you're right.
losing.
The tenured people are in there.
Yeah, you got their scouts that are in there 15, 16 years, dude.
You know what I'm more impressed by Howie with? You know what makes
That's pretty impressive.
I agree. You know what makes me even more impressed with Howie? A lot of people have left Howie. Like his tree is getting big in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Andrew Berry's out there. Joe Douglas was out there for a little while. There was a lot more, and there's more names I'm forgetting now.
The guy in Pittsburgh,
or whatever that guy's name.
in Pittsburgh was an assistant.
Andy Weidel. There's guys out there. You know, none of them. They're okay.
Yeah.
None of them really build team. Andrew Berry's been in Cleveland for how long? Now, if you want to chalk it up that the Deshaun Watson move, which was the owner's move, has ruined the entire tenure of Andrew Berry. Well, I would disagree. He's had a lot of moves outside of that. So they just don't do that well.
Yeah.
Brett Veach, that's one, but the guy at the Bears, no, I don't think he was with Philly.
Brett Veach didn't work
with
for
Poles
Howie.
with Philly? I don't think Poles
Brett
was with
Veach
Philly.
worked for Andy.
Yeah,
Joe
he was
Banner.
But to their point, Eagles.
Yes, but
no, I think Howie's the head of the snake. I mean, he's the one that keeps plugging. I mean, he's got guys changing all around him.
Well, that's like saying Jimmy Johnson's guys who all went on to try to become head coaches never became good head coaches.
Topic for next week is Howie Roseman, the modern day Jimmy Johnson.
Who would I compare him to as a general manager in NFL history?
Well, it's hard because the game's changed so much.
The game's changed.
Yeah.
I'll tell you here. He's by far better than Bill Polian. Like, blows that guy out of the water. And that's a Hall of Famer. Is he better than George Young, who built those giant teams? Probably. Is he better than – I'll tell you what I compare him to. Like, he's not better than Ozzie Newsome, but he's better than Bobby Beathard. I think Bobby Beathard's one of the top 3 general managers in the history of the league. Bobby Beathard built the undefeated Dolphins. He built the championship Washington teams. I mean, just a tremendous talent.
I think Howie's going down in history as one of the best.
Oh, he's already. I was wrong.
Yeah, well, you remember you weren't on an island though.
But he's the contract shit I thought was just his bread and butter. Dude, you look at these last 6 drafts.
Yeah, it's been really impressive.
Crazy great, man.
It's been really impressive.
It's staggering. It's staggering to a point. Now, get this. If he doesn't really hit on a grand slam guy, you know, you're like, fuck, what happened? And the guy could be a good football player. Like Nolan Smith is a good football player, right? But he hasn't been what you were hoping him to be, correct?
He'd be a great 3rd round pick.
Yeah, but still, he's a good player, correct?
Right. That's why I said he'd be a good 3rd rounder.
And Jacoby,
Kobe was a great pick.
Okay, here's why. I disagree with you because
You disagree? Yeah, I get it. I get why.
he's
I'm
not
just saying,
here.
he turned out to be a good player. I mean,
He did.
Yeah.
Who do you think was how important do you think Vic was in that development of him?
Oh, I think very important. Vic has a huge history with linebackers. I mean, that's his bread and butter. There's no doubt he had to. But the thing I like about Jacoby is actually, it brings it to Vic because it's, what does Vic really like? Vic likes smart football players. Jacoby Dean is the epitome of it. That's one of the reasons I wanted to keep him, even though I knew contractually it just didn't make sense and roster building wise, just didn't make sense. But that dude fucking knew how to play the position. And he was a smart dude. He understood how to lead. He understood how to play. He understood where to be on the field. He was a hell of a player. I thought if Jacoby Dean had zero health concerns, I think he'd be one of the best linebackers in all of football.
I'll tell you this. I bet you anything, if you were to give truth serum to Vic Fangio, his favorite player in this draft is Caleb Downs.
I don't disagree with that.
Because remember what you read about Saban, smartest, one of the more intellectual guys, one of the smartest players you've ever seen.
Now there is some injury concern with Caleb, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
How concerned are you with Makuba?
I mean, I'm a little concerned. I'm not overly concerned. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be doom and gloom about him. I thought he played pretty good, actually, but he's got to stay healthy. Hopefully he can come back, maybe have learned a little bit more about the rigors of the NFL. You understand some people come in and they build into their NFL bodies in a way. So I'm hopeful that he put on some weight, and I'm hopeful that he plays a little smarter, being another year under Vic. It's not – now, I don't think the injury last year was his fault. Remember, it was that fucking cuckoo bird, Sidney Brown, ran into his ass. Sidney Brown, I'm so happy that dude's out of here. Brian Pumper, your worst take is not Keely Ringo. It's not Jalen. It's that stiff Sidney Brown. That guy is awful, horrid. But I'm happy he's out of here. So I think Makuba could have a good year. I do think there's a chance Makuba could be a pleasant surprise this year and have a really good year. Like, I thought he was a good player, but he was a little undersized. Maybe the injury risk was real. He got to learn some things.
Followed him from Clemson in Texas.
Yeah, so I think Makuba could be good.
So this is your position. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this is your position. The need of edge is present. The O-line is future.
What'd you say? Edge is present?
Edge is present. O-line is future.
Well, then go O-line.
So you're concerned about 27 to 28 and 29.
I'm not. It's not that I don't want to win in 26. It's that I'm unwilling to sacrifice improvement or value for 27, 28, 29 teams to go all in today. Like, you remember, a good example or a good analogy of this would be, do you remember when Les Snead went all in, when they traded for Matthew Stafford? He traded all the picks. He said, fuck them all. I'm going in.
Bucks two with Brady.
That was an example to me of a team that it's worth it, because your window, you don't know how long it is. You have an opportunity to go and make the move. You have an opportunity to put yourself in a position to win. Boom, make that move. When you're the Eagles, with this much uncertainty on offense, you have a rookie play caller, your quarterback's going into the last year of guaranteed money. A.J. Brown wants out. What's it going to look like without A.J. Brown? Wasn't very pretty before A.J. Brown got here. Too much uncertainty to me. It's not – they're not in the same spot where it's, just go for the now. I think they do have to have that Howie Roseman vision of now and the future. Can't just have my eye on one. Has to be both.
Okay, so I'm going to give you Bledsoe's projections for 27. 2027 NFL draft offensive line class is deeper, potentially superior, and top-tier pass protectors compared to the 2026 class.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing I was listening to Brian Baldinger, who I think does an excellent job. You've had him on, obviously, many a times. But
God, we haven't had him on in a bit. Great reminder. I'll get him on next week.
Yeah, you should. But I was listening to a segment from him, and he basically said the replacement for Lane Johnson is not in this draft.
No way.
And he is a damn good evaluator of offensive linemen.
No way.
Baldy does great tape everywhere. He might be best on offensive linemen. So that kind of made me a little concerned. I won't lie. But
That's why, Zander, I'm not with this offensive line class.
So what do? You get the
I told-
playmaker.
I think the O-line guy's in the second round. And reverse.
Well, Baldy said what you said. He said get Sadiq. There's eight difference makers in the draft. He's one.
Yes. Right. Yeah. Because I spoke to him about a couple weeks ago, and I went, "You really like this O-line class?" He goes, and he turned it on me, and he goes, "What do you think?" I go, "I think there's 3 dudes. Well, and I think the other guys are just guys."
You know what's another tough part of this draft for the Eagles that I haven't heard mentioned very much? It's one thing to be at 23. It's a whole nother thing to have 5 picks in front of you by division opponents. 5 picks.
Fucking great take, Zander.
5 of them. 2 Giants, 2 Cowboys, and a Commanders. Because divisions play to beat one another. So some of the players that the Eagles value will be inherently valued by those same teams. Some of the kryptonites of the Eagles will be valued by those same teams. So 5 picks, like, dude, even in your worst case scenario, normally it's 3. You were the best team in the division, and your 3 division opponents are in front of you. 2 of our division opponents have 2 picks. So that's brutal.
The only thing that's the saving grace is that their rosters were so bad that they weren't near you.
Yeah, but I'm not worried about the roster. I'm worried about the NFL draft.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, how quick does the Giant, like, of all the other teams in the NFC, in the next 3 years, who do you fear the most? The Cowboys?
Next 3 years?
Or the Giants?
It would be the Giants if I like Dart. I don't like Dart, dude.
What if
I'm
they
sorry.
What if they
I
build
do
the
not
team
like
like they
Dart.
build it around Jalen? Hey, kid, don't throw the ball too much. Don't turn it over.
I know. I think the Giants are going to be the best roster. I don't think Dart is going to be that good. I really don't. So I might be wrong. If I'm dead wrong and the Giants are going to be good, and shit, they got a good defense. They have good players. I mean, I saw a mock earlier today that had them taking Jeremiah Love at 5.
Yeah, I would not be shocked.
And Carnell Tate at 10.
You get the wide route, you get the back, and you put him on the other side of Malik.
I don't like fucking Dart, though, dude. Like, to me, he's like a worse version of Jalen. Like, he doesn't run as good as Jalen, but he relies almost more on the off-schedule stuff than Jalen.
He's nowhere near Hurts.
I'm not a fan.
Like,
so,
hey,
I might be wrong. Dart might be good, but I'll own up to it if I'm wrong.
I haven't seen one redeeming quality of him throwing the ball where I went, wow, that's fucking incredible. I mean, I see a lot of athletic movement. I see a lot of, how about this? Would this be a fair comp? When I think of Jackson Dart, it's a cheap man's Josh Allen.
It's a cheap man's Jalen Hurts, dude.
Okay.
Josh Allen, nah, it's not Josh Allen. Josh Allen's arm is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is not, he's got a sick arm.
Yeah.
Jackson Dart does not. Neither does Jalen Hurts.
No, you're right. Hurts is 10 times the player, though.
That's what I mean. To me, it's like, how many times have you heard people say there's like a Vic Fangio disciple? It's like, yeah, but how much better did it get when we got the actual guy? Jackson Dart's the Jalen Hurts disciple, and he's just not as good as
bro.
him.
I don't want the apple off the tree. I want the tree.
Yeah, right.
Every time somebody goes like this, well, he's the apple off. I'm like, give me the tree.
I do think they will have the best overall roster, though.
The Giants.
Yeah.
Who's more likely to be in the league as the starting quarterbacks in their current spots? Dak Prescott in 28 or Jalen Hurts in 28?
Dak in 28, for sure.
Man, I'll tell you what, if that guy doesn't win this year, 11 years in, where are you going?
Where
are you going?
Yeah, where you going? All right, look. Don't play that game. Because that's
not.
Dude, because that's
there's
not
60 large. There's 60 large in this.
That's not good, smart football analysis, though, and you know that. It's the same reason that you say Sam Darnold can win a Super Bowl and Jalen Hurts can win a Super Bowl. Dak Prescott, I'm not saying he doesn't deserve criticism, but if you think Jerry is going to look at that team and say, hey, I got to move on from Dak, When they're trading away Micah Parsons, when their defense can't stop a fucking nosebleed, when their running game is a bunch of stiffs.
I'm not where you are with that. My take would be I can win with a $30 million guy, half the money.
Yeah, but that's you're talking about Jerry Jones.
I just saw it.
Let me ask you this. Who is a better bang for buck player? Dak Prescott or
Sam Darnold?
Joe Burrow?
Dak Prescott plays more. Who's
a better bang for buck player? Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts? Jalen makes 51, Dak makes 60.
I'll take Jalen.
So you think Jalen provides more at 51 than Dak does at 60?
Gives you more latitude in your money. And get this, the guy doesn't turn the ball over, plays within the system. He's a perfect system quarterback.
That's not particularly, I mean, how many
Bro, wait, let me go here. So Dak Prescott at 60 is a good value pick? Is a good value quarterback?
My point is that he throws the ball. He throws for 5,000 fucking yards, man.
The
guy is a machine in terms of generating offense.
I'm not talking about his talent. I'm talking about winning.
Well, I am.
Well, I'm talking about winning with cheaper dough, getting the better result, and building my team using that money on the other side of my defense. You don't think the Cowboys could take the $30 million that they pay Dak Prescott 60? You put Sam. Do you think the Cowboys would be better with Sam Darnold on their team making 30?
No.
Or Dak?
No.
Wait. Okay. You would have been able to keep Micah with the other 30.
I don't at all.
You're not looking at the money and how they're spreading it around. You got to spread the money around, Zander.
I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying there's a lot of quarterbacks making 50 million that you know, the only way to win still isn't having a quarterback making 30. Jalen proved it. You can win with a quarterback making big money. So if I'm looking at the Cowboys, and I know Eagle fans don't want to do this because they love to shit on Dak, but Dak is not the fucking problem on the Dallas Cowboys. He's not.
Jalen Hurts' contract is less than a defensive edge rusher now.
Well, that's one, and it just happened. I mean, it just happened.
He's less. The guy in Texas right now makes more money than Hurts.
I just don't get it. Like, I'm trying to think of an analogy. Like, you say Jalen's. Forget the team. Go back to your individual.
Okay, well, no.
51 million for what Jalen provided to the Eagles in the last 2 years.
Been terrible.
Or 60 for what Dak provided to the Cowboys in the last 2 years.
I'll take Dak because Dak's a better player. But he's a better player. Okay, but you're trying to build a team, aren't you?
Yeah, you are. That can't be lost on it. I'm just saying to you what I think Jerry's thought process is, that I don't think Dak's going to be gone in 28. I mean, if Dak's still throwing the ball, he'll play till he's 37, 36.
You think that Hurts is the quarterback at 28?
It all depends on this year. If he has a pretty good year, yeah, 100%. And if the owner wants him, 100%.
What do you think if he has a okay year?
Owner's the tiebreak. You know,
define good year.
A good year means we need to have a competent offense. I am done doing this whole song and dance bullshit where we're like the 24th ranked offense and we need the defense to be Superman. That's the stupidest thing in the world.
I'm going to expose Zander here for a second.
Good. Expose me.
I am. You know why? When we did our pregame shows, right before going on, Zander would go, what an absolute, how the hell is this team winning ball games like this? John and I would both go, I don't know. I just don't know. Every damn post game this last year, we did that. See, it's not a bad thing. I'm talking, you're right. You had the conversation on being a shitty offense, and yet they were winning ball games. And we're all going, how did they fucking do that?
Well, I was talking to somebody this weekend, right? My fiance's grandfather. This is an esteemed doctor who's a literally fourth generation doctor. His great grandfather went to Penn. He went to Penn. He had 5 boys. All 5 of them went to Penn. This is an esteemed fucking family. Yeah, I'm a college dropout. It's pretty funny. But I'm talking to him, and he loves talking about the Eagles. He's an Eagle fan. He's an older guy. Now he's, over 80, but he loves talking about the Eagles. And he said to me, I don't know what to think of the offense and the quarterback, because I think the team wins so much, but at times I don't think the quarterback's doing a good enough job. Okay. And well, of course you think that. You've been a doctor your whole life. If I came up to you and I said, "Excuse me, doc, you're the 28th ranked doctor in the country," he looked at me and said, "Yeah, that would be unacceptable." I said, of course you would say that. Obviously, you would say that. So the most expensive offense in the history of pro football, operating near the bottom of the league, is just unacceptable. And anybody with a rational thought process would agree with that. Now, if they're going to overcome it with a great defense, that's great. But history won't forget. I mean, history will tell the story correctly, and we'll see. I think that's what it has to be, though, dude. It can't be the liability of the team. It just can't. You can't have a liability be the offense of the team. Unacceptable.
Before we do the supers here, I want to ask you about a number that I came up and I just kind of crossed my mind here. So Jalen Hurts has played in 93 football games. You think 98 turnovers is, what do you make of that? 45 INTs, and he's put the ball on the carpet 53 times in his career.
I'm fine with that. I think
90. So it's a turnover. It's a turnover a game he has.
I think people go a little far on turnovers. Like, I'm not saying they matter, obviously. But for example, I'm just going to use Prince. I appreciate you saying this. I was bringing up Dak's numbers. Prince says, Zander, Dak in the last 3 years has 40 turnovers. Jalen, I think, has 42, which Jalen also has 40. But my point is, like, if you're going to have a high volume player, and Jalen I consider high volume because he ran the ball a lot. If you're gonna have a high volume player that accounts for a lot of the offense, by nature, they're gonna have turnovers. I mean, they're gonna have turnovers. Obviously, in key spots, you don't want to turn the ball over. Not all turnovers are created equal. When you can't turn the ball over and give up field position, you can't give up picks. Not everything is created equal, but I'm okay with the turnover numbers.
They're drive killers is what I'm saying.
Well, like you say, so are sacks.
Okay. Well, and he takes a high volume of that. Sacks and turnovers are what killing the drives, don't you think?
My point is, I don't think turnovers would be the top of my concerns with Jalen.
This is where I'm going here with this. One of the reasons why the offense you think struggles, don't you think it goes with this? Well, if you've got, you've put the ball on the carpet 98 times in turnovers, 53 fumbles, not all lost, but 53 times you stalled drives, and you had another 45 turnovers. And how many sacks has he given up in his career? Which is also, do you not agree? When you give up 183 sacks in 6 years, and you combine that with 98 opportunities at stalling drives, you think that's one of the reasons why the offense is stalled?
Well, to some extent, for sure. I mean, I think the bigger thing is, when you get behind the sticks and your skill set doesn't, you struggle more to play from behind the sticks. First off, every quarterback struggles behind the sticks. Every one of them. It's not the way you want to play. Oh. So, add that in too. I think that's really hurt Jalen and the offense in the last couple of years. This is where I think Patullo was bad. Like, I don't think Patullo had a feel for the game and a situational awareness of when to push, when to pull. It's like boxing. I love boxing. When your opponent is fucking wobbly, you go and you knock them out. But that doesn't mean you come out in round one and you just start throwing haymakers. Yeah. You got to jab. You got to set it up. You got to set up the right hand. You got to lure them in. I think that's where I thought Patullo sucked. Is he never played tactfully. He never called plays in a tactical way. He never set anything up. He never opened things up for a player or down the line,
How could you expect a guy who's a first-time play caller situationally to know situations when he's never been in them?
Well, that's going to be the same problem then with Sean Mannion.
Well, wait. If you're going to give a player 3 years to develop, you guys give 3 minutes for a quarterback, for a coordinator to develop. And if he doesn't develop, he's fucking fired. So you have less patience with your coordinators than you do your players. Is that right? Because how he picks the players and you pay the players.
Oh, yeah. Who's easier to move on from, Bobo Patullo or fucking?
Bro, you have to develop coaches too.
I agree. Well, then they should just start hiring veterans.
What? Veteran coach, like experienced guys.
Like Kellen Moore.
I wonder if that's a threat to Nick.
Well, Nick, I think, hired Sean.
Last two guys, that's the case. How do you go from Kellen Moore, from a high experienced guy, to two dudes combined that never called plays? He's insane.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. I mean, they're going to have to figure out a way around it. They're going to have to figure out, how to do it and win. But it's not a good excuse. But I just, I think I do think they need an advantage there this year in that. Oh, look, here comes Duncan. Hi, buddy.
I love dogs.
He's not supposed to be back here. I don't know how. That means he busted something out in there.
Screen door's gone, Doss. How you doing, big boy?
Can you see him? Oh, yeah. It's okay, buddy. His name is Duncan.
How you doing, big boy? I should let Stevie. You guys got to see Stevie. You know what he is? I didn't realize he's like.
Stevie's like 12. Here, Dunk, come here. Look.
He's like a junior pit. He's like a junior pit bull. Or no, what is Doberman?
You like pipsqueak dogs. I like a.
Well, because you know why? That means I have to go walk them, pick shit up, and I'm not doing it.
Yeah, you know what my dream would be is have a bunch of acres and a fenced in yard, and I can get the German Shepherd, fucking German. Nobody's walking up on my crib.
Hey, get this, man. I'd be like this. See, it used to be back in the day when you could go to Patterson and nobody gave a shit about living out there. Now all of a sudden, New Jersey's this high tax area, and nobody could.
New Jersey's a catastrophe,
bro. You know what Barrett told me? Barrett sent me a text, Brooks. He goes, dude, I heard you on the air talking about like the taxes in New York and Connecticut. He goes, have you seen the New Jersey taxes?
Oh, it's insane.
I'm like, no.
Wait, funny story on Barrett, and I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Actually,
come on, let's.
No, it's fine. It's nothing crazy personal. I'm in Pennsylvania where guns are popular. I have guns. I mean, I've always owned guns. My brother's a military guy. It's a big thing, but I have them right there, my case. But in Jersey, Barrett Brooks, when he used to work with JAKIB and was on a show, he wanted to get a firearm for his home, for his family. He's got 5 kids. I'm like, yeah, of course you want a damn firearm for your house. That's common. Okay. He had to use me as a reference because you need like 10 references to get approved by the state of Jersey just to exercise your right to buy a gun for your house. He had to use me. That's how deep into the well he had to go to find people to give him. I'm like, that's crazy.
Guy played 10 plus years. He don't know anybody but you.
Right. Well, he knows people, but you have to meet all these Jersey stipulations.
Jesus.
It's basically set up so that they don't let you do it.
No doubt, man. If I ever asked them,
the point is,
Reyes, they'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here." You know that.
The point is that Jersey's a fucking catastrophe.
It is, man. Let's read these supers, bro.
Let's do it. Yeah, Bob. In Florida, we buy them at Publix. Pennsylvania's not that here. I walk in, I get a background check. They fucking tell me.
Hey, here's the guns I had. I had a Ruger. I had a 357. Oh man, I had a beautiful Smith & Wesson.
I got some bangers in there, dude.
I had a snub nose. I had a Luger. I also had, what's the one? A Beretta. I sold them all.
Italian.
Yeah, I got rid of them all. I'm a big fan. People want to own guns. That's fine. I have no problem with it. I don't give a shit. I mean, I just don't own any right now, but I did for a while. I like handguns. Oh, wait a minute. I had a sawed off too.
Those are illegal now.
I had a sawed off.
Yeah. SBR.
Yes. Somebody sold that to me. I can't.
Those are mostly illegal. Look, there's my license to carry.
There you go, bro. What do you hunt?
I don't hunt. My brother hunts.
Yeah, I don't hunt either.
No, I don't hunt. I love the range though. I go to the range. It's like my weekend activity. I'll go to the range all the time.
My wife and I used to go and we used to go shooting too. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's go to some supers. I wonder if one day I can show my firearm. I know a lot of YouTubers do it, but apparently YouTube cracked down on it. E-Train says, I agree with Baldy. If I can't get Francis M or Vega in the first, which they're not going to get, I'm going in a different direction. I'm an O-line guy too. E-Train, I understand the line of thinking at this point.
Dude, if the draft is heavy and O-lineman next year and it's better, why don't you just go a different route with a need right now for 26?
You in 26.
Well, I know I want to win.
You're setting up your content. Don't lie.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Here's Texas T. Guns are a requirement. Texas T. I remember when I lived in Houston for 2 years, brother. I remember when I was young. I was 19 years old. I moved to Houston, Texas. I walked outside to my dog park, outside of my apartment. I lived right down at Lofts at the ballpark next to Minute Maid Stadium in Houston, Texas.
That's a great stadium.
I took my dog on a walk. First day I was there. I'll never forget this. First day I was there, and I'm walking through the dog park. 3 dudes in one walk, all of them open carrying a massive pistol. I never seen open carry like that in my life. I'm like, holy shit. Texas really is savage. I remember that shit like it was yesterday.
Hey, Z, you see the new picture of Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini that just
the one
came
in the
out?
bar?
No, the one at the casino.
No. Oh gosh. Don't turn me into a drama queen.
Hold on. I'm gonna retweet it so you can go over to my X and see it here. Take a look at this thing. They just dropped this. Dude, they're after Vrabel. They're totally after Mike Vrabel. TMZ Sports. Look at that. They're sitting there. There's Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini at a casino. Right after Vrabel got fired from the Texans in 24.
Oh my God, bro. Yo, it's fair to ask the question, is it Vrabel's kid, right? It's gotta be.
I think it's got to be fair to ask that. Is it the husband that sent all these people after this whole thing here?
Yeah, but if I'm the husband, I'm more focused on, are these my damn kids?
Hey, freakazoids have certain freakazoid tendencies. People have.
You're saying you think he's a freakazoid and likes it?
Dude, you know what? Having another Gumat on the side, I'm already a tired old man. I couldn't have it. That's like people saying, "Hey, Sileo, you've got a burner."
Wrong shit in life. I don't want to stand on the more. Chase bigger shit than that, guys. There's better things happening.
I chase success. I don't chase skirts.
It's like, come on, man. They're trying to build a business here. I'm not worried about that shit. Here's Abe. Ain't no one better than talking sports than you two knuckleheads. Love y'all. Sorry I don't be in the chat, but I still live. Abe, love you, brother. It's good to see you. I'm sure Abe is grinding, trying to get to that money, right, Abe? You and me both, brother. Brian says, bring Vrabel on Maury for a paternity.
Hey, Brian, I'm going to give you a Jerry Jones. Before I trade A.J. Brown, I'd rather take a paternity test.
You are not the father.
Oh, my God, would I just kill people?
Leon, yes, I'm going to be like I love these people. We stream every day of the offseason, and Leon says in my life, no, Leon, the draft showed up, and I actually thought, Leon, I'm going to take the week off. I won't be. Yeah, I'm going to be here. I'll be here. I'll be live the whole draft. I'll be live after the pick. I'll be live late into the night, Leon. I already asked Sileo for 20 minutes. He gave me the stink face. He said, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, because I didn't
cry
want...
me a river, Sileo.
Hey.
I'll see you after the pick.
Yeah, listen. By the way, because I didn't want Bulldog Krause on my ass giving me a text. Zander's like 20 minutes. Let's go. And I'm like, you know what he threw at me? He goes, hey, I go here. You need anything to eat it on? I'm like,
I said, hey, man, Mr. Sileo's flat tire the other week didn't fix itself, did it?
Holy shit. Don't ever tell me this guy doesn't have a scoreboard.
Oh, man. You got to be kidding me, Sileo.
Bulldog Krause after my
At
ass.
least I'm honest about it. I don't hold it like a.
I know. I got it.
Here's Khaled. LMAO, Super Bowls are a team accomplishment. Yeah,
correct. That's when I believe Balzer was talking. That Balzer said Hurts can win 2 more Super Bowls. He's not all.
That was a pretty crazy comment. I don't even think Balzer believes that. Cody says, huge Hurts fan. But yeah, whoever thinks he's Hall of Fame worthy don't know ball. LOL.
He wins 2 more Super Bowls, though. You got to listen.
He's going to the Hall of Fame if he wins 2.
Listen, if Troy Aikman doesn't have Super Bowl wins, he's never going to the Hall of Fame. He's never going to the Hall of Fame. He doesn't have the numbers, dude. He just doesn't. But he's got 3 wins. You're not going to deny 3 wins, right? The fucking quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. 3 Super Bowl wins.
Yeah, but I think Troy was actually really fucking talented.
I think Troy played. How about this? I'm going to take your line. I think Troy probably cut off 20,000 extra yards of his, what could have been more yards on his resume to win. Like, he cut about 20,000 yards off his career. But you know why? They had Emmett. Emmett was there for a decade plus, you know? You're not moving off of Emmett Smith.
You don't think Troy was a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, I do.
He was accurate as hell.
I think, you know what? I don't want to dismiss that. So I'm going to say yes. Yes. But do I think he's one of the elite guys in his era? No way.
Stay Focused says, I agree with Abe. Of all the sports shows I watch, I never miss when you two are tag team in there. Oh, come on. Did you have to go Diddler? Stay Focused. Did you have to just go Diddler on this thing, man? Are you kidding me? Stay Focused.
This guy goes Diddler.
I appreciate that. That's pretty cool, dude, that we got people that, you know, there's a lot of content out there still. If people choose to watch us, pretty cool.
I love that. And agreed.
I mean, Coma, she did. She named her kid after Mikey.
Zander's on this, man. He thinks that's.
Bro, that's. How many of these people in the chat have a woman in their life? It could be a dad, it could be a mother, a sister, a wife, a girl. I don't really care. How many have a woman in their life? Have you ever talked to them about kids' names?
I can see my wife naming my.
I'm just saying, when you bring up a name to a woman,
it's creepy. It is.
What they do is they start thinking of everybody they've ever known in life with that name.
Yeah.
You're telling me this dude is diddling with this girl's diddling with Vrabel in 2020 and 2021. She's got a kid in 21 and she names him Mikey, and you don't think there's anything that has to do with it?
Man.
I will defer once again for the 3rd or 4th time this show to the future meme. Go and look it up. Go and type it in on Google. Future hyphen or colon. It's an evil world we live in. All right.
Even Les Bowen just commented, this is getting to the point where we might all want to check our old photos of Diane and Mike.
Oh, man.
Dude, that one at the casino just dropped.
It's a cold world, Sileo. It's a cold world.
This is why I never leave my house. This is why, hang on. This is why I never send cannoli pictures to anybody in the past. This is why.
Diddler are you? You sound like the cornheads in the chat.
No, this is why I never in a million years ever accept people on my Facebook because I don't know what they're trying to do.
I know you used to.
I did. My wife told me. She's like, those people aren't who you think they are.
They're bots.
She goes like this. She goes, yeah, I'm sure a 21-year-old hottie like that is wanting big fat sills. And I went, you don't think that's what? She goes, yeah, of course. You would think that. It's some dude named M. Reyes sitting in his drawers with cookie crumbs on his chest.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Dave, the next thing, that's right. The next thing we're going to see is Diana Rossini and Vrabel in the Epstein files.
Wait, I might have been Dave Portnoy who put this out today. He put out, soon they'll both be divorced and get remarried to each other.
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, I could see that. Who did that recently? Didn't somebody do that recently? Like public figure or some shit? What the fuck is that people's name?
What? Married his Gumad?
Who was that? I thought somebody did that recently, like a public figure. I don't know. Who knows? I don't keep up with
I
the
don't
shit.
keep score with that shit either.
How about Brajol? You want fucking cannoli?
I like Brajol, dude. You kidding me, man? My grandpa ate the shit out of that. Philly has good cannolis. Baltimore, it's all in the like the crust. If you got a good cannoli, man, and that mother is just absolutely nice and tender, then you get the filling in the middle. What's the best cannoli shop in Philly?
There's one I like. It's called Altamontes. It's in Doylestown. No, it's not in Philly. I haven't. There's a famous one in Philly. You know, Sills, I've honestly been pretty spoiled with this stuff. My mom is 100%. My dad is the one who's not Italian. My mom is 100% Italian. Both her parents were 100% Italian. She makes homemade cannolis. And
wow.
Insane.
Wow. That's
so
great.
I kind of people say, what's the best like Italian restaurant? I'm like, honestly, I'm not the guy to ask because I eat at home.
My grandmother, when my aunt's always watching the show, you guys know, Zander, we ate the greatest food in the history of the world when my grandmother was bro. We didn't go out to eat. We went out and caught the seafood, lobsters and squingill and flounder and all that.
Right.
We grew it.
This is a big one, though. Termini. That's right. I forgot that one. Termini Bros is a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah. Any more?
Supers. I think we're good. We're good.
All right.
Oh, wait, here we go. Dak is a part of it. Check his playoffs game stats. Oh, I agree. He's a part of it. I'm just saying that I don't think Jerry's moving on from him in a year if he's still playing good.
Jesus Christ.
The guy gets a lot of yards. And hey, he's got a little Jerry in him. Didn't he just flake on his wife like a couple weeks before? He's got a little Jerry in him, you know?
I did that too, though.
I think Jerry likes him.
Hey, I did that too. They bought
chicken nuggets. Deshae, let me tell you a story. Never once in my life have I been one of the shrimps that walks into a restaurant and says, "Could I have the kids menu? I want chicken tenders and French fries. Mommy, I want chicken tenders and French fries, and I want a little mustard and a little bit of ketchup." I'll leave that for people like you, Deshae.
Chicken fingers, chicken
tenders, chicken nuggets. I'll eat chicken nuggets.
I mean, that shit. What are you, my 7?
Mommy, I want the chicken tenders and the French fry. I had a friend when I was young.
I
was in high school. He's like still ordering chicken tenders and French fries. I'm like, bro, grow up.
What do you drink out of a sippy cup?
Yeah, drinking a sippy cup. Sippy cup, juice box, and chicken tenders. I knew it. I knew Twiz would show up. Twiz, how did I know, Twiz, that you were going to show up when the tender talk came?
Yeah, well, look at him. Look who he is.
Oh, look at Forrest's profile picture. AJ was with AJ and Vrabel in Sedona. Yeah, so next week, I won't be on your show next week, Thursday, Friday. I'm going actually out to the.
Where are you going to? Sedona, Arizona?
I am not Sedona, but I'm going to the land of Rossini. I'm going to listen to what I'm doing. I'm going to a racing school. Me and my brother got us all hooked up. We're going to a racing school.
Where's this?
I gotta look. It's somewhere in Arizona. I'm flying to Arizona. Yeah.
Who owns the school?
It's called Radford Racing School.
Radford, like the guy who raced
Radford. Hellcats, baby.
Wait, Radford, the guy who raced with Bobby Rahal?
I don't know. I haven't read that much about it.
There was a guy, Radford, that was a racer that raced with like Newman Haas and also with, David Letterman owned Indy cars for a long time, and he worked.
One day, that's what I'm going to own.
A race car.
No, this is what I want. There's a guy who hasn't been in here in a little bit, but he's a big supporter of ours, Dakota. He owns a asphalt company. So I was talking to him, and I want to buy a shit ton of acres somewhere in West, a little further west in PA, maybe like East Lancaster County type over there.
Yeah.
Get 10, 50 acres, wherever I can get. And I want to put a fat strip of asphalt. I want to put a mini track type of thing. And I want to build a humongous garage for my garage channel. So that's something that's like a big picture goal of mine.
You know, Morgan & Morgan sponsors Richard Childress Racing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
You know, he also does it with with Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch he's Morgan & Morgan. So Morgan & Morgan is really tied in. Dude, I knew a guy named his name was Lewicki. And he raced back in the day, got killed in a helicopter crash. And he was the main sponsor for like Hooters. He was the endorser guy. Alan Kowicki was dude, I was going to get involved with him back in the day, Alan Kowicki. And he raced. He was a really great guy. Racing, I probably been to Daytona 9 years in a row. That's
incredible. I've never been to Daytona. I'd love to go.
Oh my God.
I want to go to, so
Bro,
I'm doing just like the 1 day event at the school, at the racing. It's like we're going, me and my brother.
Are you doing open wheel?
We're doing, so you can do, these things aren't cheap, but we're doing like 2 events. We're doing, one sec, I'll read you what we're doing. I know we're doing head to head, which means like I'm going to race somebody like probably my brother or somebody. And then shit, I forget the second one we're doing. They texted me but I can't.
No, is it open wheel or are you like in a NASCAR?
No. We're doing Hellcats, which are like, Challenger Hellcats.
Yeah.
Head to head and autocross we're doing. So it's going to be pretty sick.
You know, there's at Disney World in Orlando, they got the Richard Petty. Have you ever seen that thing, Zander? If you ever get down to Orlando, you could do the Richard Petty. They put you in Richard Petty's car.
Wait, you might know this. You know what I'm doing? You know what I'm signing up for? I'm investing this in myself soon. Hopefully, probably not this summer because of everything that's going on this summer, but probably next off season in Connecticut, I believe it is. The Skip Barber Racing School. You ever heard of that?
I have. Is it up in northern part of the state or is it down to the?
Pretty sure.
Is it near Danbury?
Skip Barber Racing School. Skip Barber is an old school racing school. Where is Skip Barber?
Is that in Old Lyme or in Danbury?
Let me see. Give me 1 second.
I used to go to races all the time with my grandpa.
I think it's Long Island, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, Long Island. But it's in Connecticut, Long Island.
You want to hear something cool with racing, just so you know? When I was a young kid, my aunt's in here. My grandpa used to take me every Saturday to modified races in Danbury. I must have went 15 years of my life when I was a young kid. I must have started going when I was like 9 years old. And every Saturday, my grandpa would take me up there and my cousin, and we would go to Danbury races.
Dude, that's sick.
And I used to go every Saturday night.
That is fire.
We saw modified racing.
Yeah, I love doing that. So the Skip Barber, though, they have Formula. That's Formula car, open wheel. Yeah. I'm not doing that. Yeah, I'm doing GT, which is like just like cars. They have a 1 day, then they have a 3 day, and then after the 3 day, you can qualify for their 2 day advanced. So I'm trying to do all of them, not right away, but maybe one next summer, one the following summer, and I think that would be pretty sick to do. So that's something I want to do for sure.
So this guy got me doing about 20 minutes after the damn pick tonight. So I'll be back.
Sileo's going to be boozed up. Dude, I need you for 20 minutes. Did you fucking cover the Eagles for a fucking living? You don't want to talk after their damn pick? Cry me a river. Oh, dude. You guys see what I deal with? I gotta like dragging nails on a chalkboard.
Hey, no, yeah. I didn't want Wolf Dog on me. That's what I didn't want. I get it the other day. Get this, so like the tire goes down. What the hell? You got a summer schedule? I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean a summer schedule?
Skills, I'll see you after the pick tonight, my friend.
Big Z, I'll see you tonight, dude. Okay.
All right, dude. Later, man.
Hey, real quick, what do you got last call on it? What do you got last call? Who did they get?
Proctor.
Okay. They trade up?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go Sadiq. I'm going to hang in there with it.
All right, I like it. All right, brother.
right,
Good
bro.
stuff, man. I'll catch
See
you.
you later, man. All right, Big Z. Got you. Yep. All right, let me pay some bills here. Folks, yeah, I'm going Sadiq. You got Vega? Do me a favor. Start posting some of the guys you think that you like. Because this is basically the Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel last call. All right? All right. Hey, Daytona Beach, man. I love that. Way to go, guys. All right. Our great friends at Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in all of America for a reason, guys. It is because they win. Family, I told you in Pennsylvania got offered $650K. They got $30 million in settlement. Or in Florida, $350K was initially offered. They got $12 million in settlement. Easiest decision you'll ever make in your entire life. Go to forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. That's forthepeople.com/Big Sills or Pound Law 529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sills sent you.
There's a reason Detective Johnson is the gossip king.
Oh, did you hear? Jackie and Tom
are getting a divorce? Sad.
Well, I heard that Ashley
Had work done on her face? Yeah, oof.
Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. Injured? With over $25 billion recovered for our clients, there's a reason to go big.
Bathroom? Okay.
Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Oh, okay.
Ignite your nights with free live entertainment daily, only at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia's Center Bar. 7 days a week, enjoy some of the region's top party bands, performers, and DJs as they take the stage in the heart of the casino action. Great cocktails, live music, and lively moments. It's all happening at Center Bar at Live Casino and Hotel Philadelphia. Visit livecasinophilly.com for more details and the complete list of upcoming events. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica, who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Welcome to the Jet Setters and the High Rollers, to the Shot Takers and the Tastemakers. Welcome to the Viewfinders, the Thrill Seekers, and the Night Owls. Welcome to everything you could possibly want on one 5-mile island. Welcome to the Wildwoods. Book your stay today.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We go the extra mile to lend a helping hand. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong. We've been deeply rooted in our communities for more than 85 years. And that connection to members has earned us our spot as the #1 health insurer in the region. So while you look out for your neighbors, know IBX is always looking out for you.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on Sports Grid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid.
EAGLES. Eagles.
Incredible. It looks like the Bears are actually moving to that sewer Hammond, Indiana, which is incredible. All right, guys. Eagles pick at 23. We'll see you there. Have a great one. Please hit the like button. 2 to 6 tomorrow. We'll see you on the flip side.